Good evening and welcome once again to Eyes Up Mother Brown as we bring you a London derby on this particular occasion. We're over to North London, to the Emirates to be precise, for Arsenal versus West Ham United. West Ham's second game of the 2020-21 campaign. And of course, we're still looking for our first point, still looking for our first goal as well. Interestingly, Grady Diangana, who might have been playing tonight, had things been differently, scored today. And has therefore scored more goals this season than West Ham United together. West Brom went down 5-2, I think it was, at Everton this afternoon. But anyway, we'll come to that in due course, no doubt. Let's get cracking straight away. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by the Pink Palermo and Rio. And we are hopefully due to be joined very shortly by Bristol Hammer FC, who is probably bombing along the motorway as we speak in a desperate attempt to get back in front of his TV for tonight's stream. So to kick us off tonight, I'm going to pass you over to Rio, who's going to bring us both teams. How you doing, Rio? Rio, can you hear me?
Sorry, Gray, you froze there, mate.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm just saying we're going to you for the teams, please, buddy.
Okay, no problem at all. Arsenal home side line-up tonight. In goal, Leno. In the defence, Holding, Dos Santos Migueles, Tierney, Bellerin, Ceballos, Xhaka and Saka, Willian, Lacazette and Aubameyang. And their bench consists of Ashley Maitland-Niles, Pepe, Saiso, Bob, Elneny, Nketiah, Kolasinac and Macy. West Ham, we line up. We have one change in their starting 11. We line up. In goal, Lucas Fabianski. In defence, we have Ryan Fredericks, Aaron Cresswell, Issa Diop and Angelo Ogbonna. The midfield consists of Tomas Soucek, Declan Rice. We have Jared Bowen, Pablo Fornals and the return of Arthur Masuaku, God help us. And up front is Mikel Antonio. As substitutes tonight, Fabian Balbuena, Andre Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson, Manuel Lanzini, Sebastian Haller, Ben Johnson and Flappy Darren.
So, yeah, just one change to the team there from last week. What's your initial thoughts on the team there, Rio?
To be honest, it's pretty much as I expected. I think obviously the shock is the only change was Masuaku.
Yeah.
I thought after the cup game on Tuesday night, where I didn't get to watch it myself, but both you and Pinky reported that Josh Cullen had a really good game. Yeah. Felipe Anderson was probably the pick of our players, yet neither get a look in. And Arthur's come in. I'm presuming it's to try to shore up that left-hand side where we expect Arsenal to exploit us a little bit. But, yeah, I can't say I'm particularly hopeful with that because you know what Arthur's like. He does go wandering.
Yeah, it does look like a 5-4-1 the way we're going to be lining up there tonight with Cresswell moving across into the centre to form a three-man central defensive unit and Masuaku bombing up and down, probably more up than down. We would guess on the left hand side. Pinky, good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everybody. And well, I'm just so excited because here we are. We're away at the Emirates, which just to give a reminder to everyone in the Gold and Sullivan era, we've played 19 league games against Arsenal Football Club. So 57 points up for grabs, and we've taken just 8 of them. So that's 6 managers have had a crack, and we've come away with just 8 points in those 19 games. So tonight is game 20, and I've got to say, Mr. Moyes, tonight, I think he's gone with a 3-5-2, Graham.
Okay, yep.
And so I think we'll have, Fredericks and Masuaku as the two kind of like wide people in the middle.
Yeah.
Obviously, Soucek and Rice there with Fornals playing just in front of them. And I think we'll see Bowen more in a central striking role with Antonio. So, and the 3 at the back, obviously Cresswell's going to tuck in at the back, which kind of like tells me that we really are down to bare bones territory. But yet again, we've got a game where the bench costs more than the starting 11.
Yes.
We've got £100 million bench again. maybe the tactic is to scare Arsenal and say, just look at our bench. If you think we're putting all our guns out early, oh no, we've got plenty in reserve. But we'll see. I wasn't very hopeful last weekend. I thought we'd have a run of 6 or 7 games without getting a single point.
Yeah.
As match day approaches, you always get a bit more optimistic. And I would say, if we could get a point tonight, that would be very good indeed.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling we might be able to pull something off here tonight. I'm not quite perhaps as confident as I was an hour ago, having looked at the lineup, which seems to be rather defensive. But Rio, are you sort of fancying us tonight? Do you think we've got a chance over there, or do you think it's going to be another standard defeat?
I'm looking at a heavy defeat, 3 or 4-0 at least. I just don't see where we're going to keep them out, to be honest. Defending is not our strong point. Their front three terrifies me. Our back four terrifies me. It's not a happy marriage, that.
No, not. Oh, David, I've just seen David Moyes coming. I don't know if anyone can just tune in there to see what Moyes is saying before we go here. But while we're doing that, I'm just dipping into the KUMB Forum and having a look round to see what people are saying. It seems quite a few of the regulars on the match thread are sharing our lack of optimism, really. Longshot actually going so far as to call this lineup pathetic. He says it makes Big Sam look gung-ho and adventurous. So that's, again, not particularly positive. Mad Hammer says Moyes really isn't helping himself with his team selections in winning the fan base over. There might be a case to be made for 3 at the back against a potent Arsenal front 3. But by retaining so much faith in 10 of the players who disappointed so much last week, I wonder what message it sends to the likes of Haller, Anderson and Lanzini. Rio, we sort of thought in midweek, didn't we, that Anderson, for one, had a particularly decent game. You were a little bit surprised perhaps not to see him in the starting 11 tonight?
Yeah, I think given the circumstances and what we showed last week was a complete lack of attacking ability. We need that kind of flair and input from Anderson to try and allow us to compete somewhat, because we haven't got hope in hell we're keeping a clean sheet. We need goals. And Felipe, as we said, had a really good game Tuesday night. He'd be our most likely attacking output tonight, I think. But again, he's been relegated to the bench. It's a strange one.
Yeah, I must admit, I felt he had a chance there. Pinker, you've been keeping an eye on David Moyes there. Is there anything amazing that he's come out with in his pre-match interview there?
No, he's sticking to the script and he's saying that Noble's got a toe injury. Of course, the fact that the last 3 or 4 times we played Arsenal, they've managed to pass the ball around our midfield with consummate ease has got nothing to do with it, I'm sure. So I think he's been kind to his captain there, but no real giveaways. He was asked as to his tactics, and the classic was, well, sometimes we'll press and sometimes we'll sit back. So take your pick out of that. But for my money tonight, no Anderson is a bit of a surprise. I felt he tried really hard on was it Wednesday night against Charlton, and he did the job that was asked of him. So he'll be a bit dispirited, I'm sure, today. But Sebastian Haller, no shock there at all. We were saying on Wednesday night, don't be fooled by the 2 goals. He didn't do enough. Again, it's a real problem this for David Moyes now, because of that £100 million sat on the bench, pretty much he wants shot of pretty much all of it, doesn't he?
Well, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it? I should explain, apologies if I'm jumping around on the stream here, but I've been joined by a visit. I have a huge blue bottle who's just appeared from nowhere to buzz around my head. I'm trying desperately to get rid of him while we're going on with the show. So apologies if I do dart about from place to place every now and again. Jumping in on the forum quickly again. New Jersey says basically it's Arthur in to help Cresswell out. So defensive. I was really hoping to see Haller and Antonio giving it a go at Arsenal's backline tonight. Dixie says, what a calamity. Haller with Antonio, Dave. FFS. And Yeah, I can't read that one. Yeah, another player, Pinky, that did particularly well. We thought on earlier in the week against Charlton was Josh Cullen. There it goes again. And Josh hasn't even made the squad at all, the 18-man squad at all tonight. Any surprise in that one? Especially with Noble out, of course.
Yeah, only in so much as at what point does a manager wish to motivate and encourage a player and say, look, you've done well tonight, son. You'll be in the match day squad at the weekend.
Yeah.
I think Cullen had done enough to at least make the match day squad.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Looking at our bench there, I'll be honest with you, I'd be tempted of giving Lanzini a complete rest, and there's a spot there for Cullen. So I think Moyes has probably missed a bit of a trick there. But having said all of that, I mean, just look at what he's working with. He's working with largely Pellegrini's players, who is becoming increasingly obvious. The recruitment under Pellegrini was shockingly poor. It was shockingly poor. We've overpaid for an awful lot of them. They haven't delivered, and David Moyes is having to sweep up with that. And in classic Sullivan style, there's no money for Mr. Moyes really, but there was an awful lot of it for Mr. Pellegrini. So you've got the recovery manager paying the price for the profligate manager and his bad purchases. So I've got some sympathy with the side that Moyes has put out tonight. I know it's not popular on the forum, but really, what real choices does he have?
Yeah, very good points, as always. Rio, I'll come to you in a minute. If you could perhaps keep an eye on the forum for us, the match thread as usual, and just see what's going on there. We'll jump in quickly before. We've got about 8 minutes until kickoff, so we'll go and have a little look once more before we start at what's going on over there. Welcome to everyone who's joining us on the live stream. Do let us know what you think of the game. Got any thoughts or comments? Do let us know as always, and we'll dive in and see what you've got to say. Just having a quick look at the Premier League table. Interestingly, Rio, 2 of the 3 promoted clubs taking up the bottom 2 spaces at the moment in Fulham and West Brom. Leeds, of course, decent win today, but they seem to be shipping goals left, right and centre as well, don't they? I think 3 today against Fulham, 4 against Liverpool last week. Is it a case of, they've spent decent money on attacking players, but perhaps neglected to, in a similar way to West Ham, really, perhaps neglected to, look at their defensive units and strengthen there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's the Bielsa way, though, isn't it? He just loves to attack. And my worry for Leeds, I think they'll be safe. There'll be no problems with that at all.
Yeah.
What my worry is the way that he plays with so much energy, so much attacking impetus, and getting up and down the pitch from all angles, that they've not had much of a summer break, have they? And will the fitness issue catch up with them around about February, March time? But I think because of their attacking output, they should be safe. And also, I think West Brom and Fulham, they don't look particularly good, unfortunately, for them. And I think they'll be pretty much cemented in the bottom 3 most of the season. It's just, at the moment, I just feel there's one other spot available. Sadly, I think it's us at the moment who look doomed. There's an air of despondency. There's no sign of any kind of reinforcements coming to lift the mood, lift the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not looking good for us. I know it's only one game into the season, one league game in the season. We've got an awful run coming up by the end of October, beginning of November. I think my despondency could come to fruition.
Is it perhaps inevitable, do you think, that we're going to be stuck in the bottom 3 by November? I mean, we've talked about this run before. Tottenham, Arsenal tonight, Man City, Liverpool, Wolves as well. We've got to face in that run. I mean, where do you see us picking up points in those 5 games?
Absolutely nowhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's really difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
But Pinky, would you go along with that? I mean, do you see us? I mean, we've said that Fulham and Albion have looked really, really ropey at the back in their first 2 games. But do you see us sort of sitting, in that bottom 3 of them come November? Do you see us perhaps, pulling off a surprise West Ham win along the way to sort of, keep us in contention with the rest of the bottom half, I suppose, or even better, perhaps.
I mean, it's always possible. It's always possible that we could cause an upset because isn't that the nature of the beast? We could win tonight, beating a reasonably decent Arsenal team, and then losing the Carabao Cup against Hull in midweek. That would be classic West Ham United. But if you go by the form guide, common sense, logic, all those things, the opening 6 or 7 games, Newcastle really was the banker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And blew it. You then say, well, Wolves, maybe if they're a bit tired, maybe we could get something against them. But in reality, we're probably looking at best in those opening 7 games, 3 points if we're really lucky.
Yeah,
possibly less than that. And what that does, that piles the pressure on all season, because once you're in the wrong end of the table, once you're in that bottom 6, and you're surrounded by, frankly, other poor teams, trying to claw your way out of it, when all you see is what's the next run of games, and this idea that there are easy games in this division that you could say, oh, we'll win that game in March.
Yeah,
I'll dream on. It doesn't work that way. So for my money, we're right up against it from day one almost. And it brings us back to the lack of activity in the transfer window. Dare I say it, the bids for the Burnley centre back, we're not trying very hard, are we? We're not making a statement, are we, saying you're our man, we want you, here's 50 million quid. And being the betting man I am, I'm willing to bet that we won't be signing a centre back before the top flight transfer window shuts.
Yep.
I reckon we'll be dipping into the Championship, because I think there's a couple of weeks in October from the 5th to about the 19th.
That's it, yeah.
Where you can buy Championship players. And I'm going to chuck a name in here now, not that I want, but probably someone like, is it Morrison down at Cardiff City?
Right.
Again, look who the agent is, look who Mr. Sullivan likes to do his business with, and look who's cheap, and it's that kind of affair where I think the chairman is just going to railroad the manager into a position where it's that type of player or nobody, because you can't be bidding 30 million and then 31 million for a player when the selling club have said it's 50 million.
Yeah, it's nonsense, isn't it? Absolute nonsense. But we've seen it so many times, haven't we, in recent years with the current administration? We saw it with Carvalho at Sporting, didn't we? Which is one of the most obvious and blatant cases of the club really not sort of going for a player they want. But we see this often asked on the forum, don't we? Members saying, what other clubs do this? And you don't see it, do you? I mean, clubs seem to go for it. Liverpool, for example, today they've gone out and bought the lad from Wolves, and this is one that sort of seems to have come from nowhere. And they just seem to get it done. And West Ham seem to just did it. I mean, and again, this comes back to people saying, are we genuinely in for him, or is it just a case of that we need to do something to deflect the criticism that we're receiving at the moment? And but perhaps this is why we put it out there. But we'll come. I did say, sorry, Ping, we're going to go to Rio quickly, because we did say that before kickoff we're going to have a quick look at the forum just to see what's going on, and we're only a few seconds away from kickoff. So Rio, over to you. Anything catching your eye there right now?
The only thing really stands out is Alan Pardew's dad has put, I feel depressed already and we haven't even kicked off. Fortunately, I've got a nice bottle of red to cheer me up. I think that sums up the whole thing of the forum and possibly the panel as well, to be honest.
Yes. What are we drinking tonight? Have we got the alcohol out already, fellas? Are we?
A bottle of meantime on the go at the moment.
Tea.
Yeah. Lime and water. Goodness gracious.
And we're underway anyway at the Emirates. There's 48 seconds gone. So the match is underway. Nothing much happened so far. Just one long ball over the top that the Arsenal player got nowhere near. Can't really see yet exactly how we're shaped up. But here we are. Oh, Soucek just goes in on the Arsenal lad. That's a hell of a clatter. Be lucky to escape a yellow for that.
A little bit of a
If that
live,
was
no?
a bit
A
late in
welcome.
the game, he'd be getting booked. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to need to see a little bit of that, I suppose, aren't we? Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit late. You can see. Yeah, I mean, Oliver's just looked at him, hasn't he? You know, there's no card coming out, and then you can see him sort of indicating that he's not too worried about it. But Rio, the sort of thing, you know, we want to see a bit more of that, don't we? A bit of, you know, Josh Cullen was doing quite a lot of that, of course, in midweek, wasn't he? And he seemed to lift the fans a bit.
Yeah, well, we need to show a little bit of fight here because, I mean, already Arsenal were passed it around incredibly nicely, squirmed into our box. Yeah, it's not looking good. Cross comes in, headed away. We just can't clear it at the moment. Really can't clear it. This isn't going to be it's going to be a long night. Yeah, we really need someone to follow Soucek's example. Get stuck in, let them know you're there, kind of rat them a little bit.
Yeah.
And if we can, again, we can kind of force a little bit of a reaction from one or two of their players. I mean, Mr. Zaka's not exactly known for his quiet demeanour on the pitch. If we can force him into a card or two, might help our cause even more.
Well, yeah, we're going to need something, aren't we? Because, you know, you sort of look at that team, Pink, and you just think it is particularly defensive. It looks like we're going to try and hit Arsenal on the counter or perhaps, you know, contain them for 60, 70 minutes. And, you know, I mean, but this is the thing that Allardyce was only too often criticised for, wasn't it, playing in this sort of fashion?
Yeah. But again, I think we need to be fair to the manager. You know, he can see the run of fixtures, same as we can. And there's two ways he can go here tonight. He can say, well, okay, we won't keep a clean sheet, therefore let's just try and outscore Arsenal. That's one way. The other way is to say, the more professional way, dare I say it, which is keep it respectable, because who knows? Come the business end of the season, the difference between a minus 15 goal difference and a minus 25 goal difference could be staying up or going down, and the professionals get paid to think like that. You know, that's their job. Supporters, we just want to see attack. But
of course,
I wouldn't be too hard on David Moyes at this stage.
We've just seen, I think it's Pablo Fornals play a nice little ball through to Michail Antonio, looking to spring the Arsenal defence. It's sort of come to a corner eventually for us. Arthur Masuaku bursting down the left, Rio. You know, one of the things we expected to happen with Cresswell also in the team. But do you want to take us through this corner?
Yeah, Cresswell is lined up to take it. A little bit of jostling in the box. Just need a decent delivery. In it comes. Gone to the far post. That can be a header. Well, we get a head on it. Obama got a header on it. Lacked a lot of power, so he just fell into Leno's hands. But that was promising.
I mean, if that had been Trevor Brooking on his head, that would have got in then. You know, it was that kind of sort of power behind it. You know, as unfortunately, O'Connor was rocking back on his heels, going in the wrong direction. And for my money, though, a good chance for us. It just fell to the wrong player at the right moment, so to speak.
Yeah, it was very much a 1980 FA Cup final position, wasn't that? for O'Connor, very similar to Brooking there. For those of you who are old enough to remember that. I'm sure most of you have seen it anyway, even if you're not. But we are just almost exactly 5 minutes in now. It's Arsenal 0, West Ham United 0. Arsenal, as expected, have had the majority of possession so far, but I think the only shot we've seen, or the only effort on goal to this point, has come from West Ham. So I guess we'd take that. 5 minutes gone, Rio. Can't complain so far, can we really? No,
I mean, they've had a couple of forays into our box. We've had the best chance. Yeah, as Pinky said, it just didn't feel kindly. We had Ogbonna really need to get some power behind it, and it was kind of powder puff. But here we go again. Bowen in there. Pulls it back to Fredericks. Delivers it in the it's a poor cross by Fredericks. But again, we've made more forays into their half than I expect us to do all game. We're 5 minutes in. Yeah, it's a real shame there that Bowen didn't get a better touch, isn't it, on that ball as it came over his head unexpectedly, of course. But
one thing we did see the other night against Charlton, and of course we always have to, you know, use the caveat of that it was Charlton and a League One side, but Ryan Fredericks, who we've often criticised on Eyes Up Mother Brown for his crossing ability, did particularly well on Tuesday, Pinky. But we're going to need something of that standard, aren't we, tonight to sort of break through Arsenal's defence, you think?
Yeah, I mean, one of the good things about playing Arsenal is they will let you play.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, we complain about our side often enough, but you listen to an Arsenal supporter, they'll tell you all night that they sometimes leave themselves wide open. So, you know, which is why it's a little bit disappointing that we've gone a touch defensive tonight in that sense. But, you know, for me tonight, the secret to us getting something tonight is Declan Rice has got to be a whole lot better tonight than he was last weekend.
Yes,
you know,
yeah, he was unusually poor, wasn't he, against Newcastle?
He wasn't fit, and you know, and I made the point at the time, a couple of games for England is not a pre-season. You know, let's not kid ourselves. And so he's had another week in training. Hopefully, we'll see something a bit better and a bit more akin to his usual standard. But you know, your big players have got to give big performances in London derbies. It's that simple.
He seems to have been quite lively tonight so far. He's been involved in a couple of things. We've just seen West Ham with another corner there, Rio.
Yeah, we had a free kick which kind of petered out to nothing. Creswell, his delivery is poor and it kind of bounced off the wall out for a corner. From a resulting corner, it hit the right areas, but just cut out. We've been entrenched in their half for about 1 minute 50. This is a miracle.
Glorious stuff. Glorious stuff.
One thing I did notice, though, I mean, I was that free kick where Creswell we were expected, but also Declan, who I didn't, to be honest, which was a bit of a shock. I'd rather him on the end of the free kick trying to get his head on it. But we've just got one now again, and looks like Aaron is taking up every single set piece going, delivers in, cleared away.
Yeah, it comes to nothing again. But yeah, I mean, positive signs really, Pinky. I mean, as Rio said, we've spent like the last 90 seconds or so on, in their half. So, every cloud and all that, it's better. It's getting better.
Other than the first kind of 2 minutes, I think we've looked comfortable. And of course, there'll be famous last words, but let's not build this Arsenal team up to be their invincible team. You know, their so-called invincible team. You know, Arsenal Football Club are also a club in transition, and you know, I had a look at transfer market earlier in the day, and they've got their squad valued at about 650 million euros, and ours just shy of 300 million. And the shock there isn't the value on our squad; the shock is the value on Arsenal's. So, yeah. If we think we've got problems with lack of investment, Arsenal Football Club in the last few years, they're not the Arsenal Football Club of, say, a decade or 15 years ago. They too are being run for, dare I say it, financial reasons, and they're in transition as much as we are. So I think we've got a good chance of a good game here tonight.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. I mean, it started okay. We seem to be doing all right so far. It is, of course, just over 5 years since we last won at the Emirates. The scorers that day, Cheku Kiati, 2 minutes before half-time, and then a certain Mauro Zarate. I think it was his debut that day, wasn't it, when he scored?
Yeah, it was Bilic's first game. Yeah. Marvellous day out there. Absolutely marvellous.
Were you there, Rio? Were you at the Emirates that day?
Yeah. I'm a massive Bilic fan that I've mentioned a few times. And Payet made his debut, Zarate. We just seem to have a lot of kind of panache and vigour about us and a lot of attacking verve. Didn't help when Petr Cech come out and missed a cross for Cech to have a really simple header. But it was a start of a new era and everything seemed so positive. It was unreal. Whatever happened in those 5 years in between, eh? What's gone wrong?
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing season that was. You know, probably really our last great season, wasn't it? I mean, I know it's only 5 years ago, but we were expecting a bit more between now and then, having moved to Stratford. we say that though. I mean, we did actually get off to a brilliant start, did we, that season? Because of course we had the Europa League games before that, didn't we? When we were knocked out by Astra Gugu, as they're quite often referred to on the forum. And then, of course, after beating Arsenal, we lost to Leicester and Bournemouth. And we thought it was all going to go to pot. But, of course, from there, we beat Liverpool and Newcastle and Man City in succession. So a great season, though, wasn't it? Definitely an amazing start to win, beat Man City and Arsenal away from home anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that was a scary season. That was a start to it because, from memory, when we were over in Romania playing, the flight out there, quite a few of the flights were diverted into Sofia. We, on the other hand, were flown out of Luton, myself and Keith. And if you're watching, Keith, good evening. Talk about the worst flight of my life. I mean, the plane was going all over the place. We were in the worst thunderstorm you could ever imagine. I was absolutely cacking myself, drunk as a lord, because I was just pouring beer down my neck because we're all over the place. And so that wasn't an ideal start. But the actual Arsenal game that season, I think that was the only game I missed that year. I was stuck on a train in Belgium as we were playing them. I'd been to see the Manic Street Preachers the night before. So I missed that. And it was Reece Oxford had a good game that day by all accounts.
He certainly did, didn't he? That was the day, of course, we thought he'd come of age at 16, kept Ozil in his pocket, didn't he? And we thought he was, that was the start of a long and illustrious career at West Ham. And that was pretty much as the zenith, wasn't it? I mean, it didn't actually get any better than that. So, but I mean, what a fantastic day anyway. Arsenal, West Ham, we are here at the Emirates tonight, of course. 5 years ago that was, and that was the last occasion on which we went over there and won. We've had a few disappointing results since then. We were beaten 3-0 the following season, 4-1 and 1-0 in the league and the EFL Cup the year after that, 2018-19. We went down 3-1. And last year, of course, we were so close to getting what would have been a really valuable point. Were denied by a very, it wasn't really a dodgy VAR, but it was just a disappointing VAR decision, wasn't it? So we're about due a result over there anyway. Just about 14 minutes in now, we've just seen Michail Antonio let one go from the right that's taken a very slight deflection, but Lino's collected it fairly easily. And just looking on the ball now, we're seeing Willian on the ball, who of course is another one of those players who's jumped from Chelsea to Arsenal. Rio, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, is he, is it the sort of player that can lift Arsenal, or do you think Chelsea would just be reasonably happy to have got rid of him, or both even?
I think it kind of signifies Chelsea's move towards younger, more dynamic players, doesn't it? I think Willian's got a lot to offer. He's a marvellous signing for Arsenal. Mm-hmm. It goes against their policy that allegedly they have. They don't want to sign older players, but in that front three with Aubameyang and Lacazette, it's going to cause a lot of teams a lot of problems. I just think with Chelsea, they're moving towards a more kind of youthful setup, aren't they? I mean, you've got Pulisic, Ziyech, Werner, all of them under the age of 25, 26. Williams 32 now. Doesn't think that kind of Frank Lampard ideal.
Yeah, it's a very strange signing, that one, isn't it? But, I mean, obviously a very accomplished player nonetheless, and one that I'm sure will do well for another season.
There we go. Go on, Joe.
Go on, Rio.
Bowen worked his way into the box. If he'd have managed just to square it to his left, we'd have had a virtually open goal to shoot at just to keep it a beat. I think they're just showing a replay now. There was a little tug, maybe. Referee hasn't given anything. Yes, I don't know if he's gone down too easy in the ref's eyes, but I think there's a little bit of contact there. But if it could have put it to the side of Fornals was clean through on goal. Unlucky. It was promising signs again.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was much in that, Pinky. Do you think there was a shout there or not?
No, not a chance. If that had been us defending and Arsenal attacking and a penalty was given for that, we'd have been up in arms about it. Let's be honest. Credit the Arsenal defender there. I mean, he did very well not to make proper contact with Bowen. But promising signs from us. I mean, Antonio's power is causing Arsenal problems, and Bowen is looking full of menace tonight. So, you know, if Arsenal thought we were just going to turn up tonight and roll over and say have 3 goals, guess again, we're putting up a pretty decent showing so far.
Yes, we certainly are. I mean, we said after a couple of minutes it looks like it's going to be another one of those nights, but I think since then, we haven't really been threatened, have we? And we're 16, just coming up to 17 minutes gone. It is Arsenal 0, West Ham United 0 at the Emirates. Perhaps 1 or 2 players, Rio, maybe have got something to answer for after last week. I mean, we saw Bowen was really quiet, wasn't he? And we've already spoken about Rice, and they've looked reasonably lively so far, haven't they?
Yeah, it's absolute godsend, really. There's a lot of people points to prove. I mean, Arthur's got to come in. He's been pretty quiet, but he's going to have something to prove because he's not been in the starting lineup for, I don't think, since Moyes really come in his second spell. There's a lot of players who, after last week's performance, have really got to step up to the mark, particularly with the run we got coming up. If we can see this as an opportunity to get a point, then all well and good. It's about time that our squad actually got hold of the game, made a point, and showed what they're really worth. They're going to send messages out to the manager that they need to be playing regularly. There's a little switching formation here with Fornals playing a little bit more centrally. He's got a point to prove. There's some big reputations on the line here.
Do you know what the thing is? I mean, you mentioned Fornals there, and I think you're right. I think he does have a point to prove, but it just strikes me that every week it seems that Pablo's got a point to prove with some fans. I mean, we've all spoken quite effusively about his efforts and his ability and talent on here, but you see a lot of people, don't you, who still aren't convinced that he's going to be a player for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I find it very strange. Yeah. Sorry, Pinky, go on.
Yeah, I mean, Fornals. If there was a decimal point between the 2 and the 4 on his fee, people would be raving about him. Unfortunately, I think, particularly in our support, we're kind of disconnected with what genuine top quality players cost. So for us, £24 million is a big fee. Yeah. And we're expecting a heck of a lot at that. Whereas what £24 million really gets you is a player with still quite a bit of development to go. He's not the finished article, He's kind of like an investment player, and you're going to have him for a couple of years before he really hits his straps, for 90 minutes every game. So I think he's done very well so far, since he's been with us. He works hard. And for my money, his big crime is A, his fee, which isn't his fault, and B, that he's not playing as a number 10, which we all want to see, kind of thing. Again, not his fault. I think he's an okay signing, probably the pick of the bunch under Pellegrini.
First team starter for you every week, Pinky?
At this point in time, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, Rio, you agree with that? Should be on that first team sheet every week at the moment.
Absolutely, and I think Pinky's last point regarding his position in the side really sums up for me. He's been utilised as a wide midfielder, particularly after the Project Restart. Yeah, he was playing virtually left back at times. He was covering so much for Creswell all the time. Yeah, that's not a best way to utilise the man's talents. He's an attacking midfielder. He's an obvious number 10. And he's not been utilised in that role at all until probably tonight. So if we used him the right way, he'd probably get a lot of kind of better rapport with our fans who haven't really seen the work he's been doing, working up and down the wings, covering for our errant fullbacks.
Yeah, just a great bit of work there by Declan Rice, we've just seen. Left back missing in action, Rice had covered back and took the ball off the Arsenal player inside our box, recovered it, played it forward to Masuaga, who was 30 yards upfield, who then did a misplaced pass, but Rice digging us out of a hole there did very well.
Yeah, it was quite apt given that Rio was talking about errant fullbacks at the time, and yeah, that was great stuff from Declan. And you know, it looks doesn't it very much like you know, he's got the bit between his teeth tonight, and he's looking a lot better. But I mean, as far as Fornals goes, I think I'm in complete agreement with both of you. I think I like him a lot. I think he's got an awful lot to give, and I think and again, I totally agree with what you said there, Rio, that a lot of his best work has gone unnoticed because he's been covering an awful lot for Cresswell recently. And, you know, he's been doing a lot of work in our half of the field where people are expecting to be, you know, scoring goals, creating goals, and you can't do both, obviously. So, yeah, I'm totally in agreement with both of you there. Rio, we're going to go to the match thread, if we can, in just a few moments, please, buddy, just to see what the membership are making of the first 22 minutes or so. It is Arsenal 0, West Ham United 0, 22 minutes gone, halfway through the first half practically. A hello to everyone watching us on the stream, to Hobo and to Polaroid and to K23, who thankfully pointed out that I'd got the title wrong, and we were running under West Ham United versus Charlton, which of course wasn't the case. Thank you to K23 for pointing that out. We have now got a correct title. We've just seen a possible chance there for Arsenal. Pinky, anything to worry about from that one?
Which I missed completely because I was trying to get onto the YouTube comments. But
Rio, did you go, or were you doing the forum?
I'm just checking the forum at the moment.
Well, fortunately, it come to nothing, so we didn't miss anything important anyway. But yeah, just a little ball slipped through there. Ryan Fredericks, to his credit, getting back and putting in a decent challenge and just making sure that, you know, we remain goalless here. We are at just over halfway through. 23 minutes gone now. Rio, what's happening on the match thread on the KUMB forum?
There's a lot of debate on exactly how we're lining up. Mr. Soucek thinks it's a 4-5-1. Vic Watson thinks it's a 5-5-0. But there's a lot of also kind of, how can I put it, very much in tune with us that we're incredibly happy with the way it's gone so far.
Yeah.
Just had someone else mention, and Briz as well has just put up on that we're attacking the 3-4-3, defending the 5-4-1. So, yep, there's a lot of numbers flying about. Well, what we're saying here, that someone said that, I'm just trying to find the actual comment now, that, where was it? Sorry about this. Bonzo's beard, regarding the Bowen challenge where he went down.
Yes.
Both you and Pinky felt is rather soft. But Bonzo's beard has put, looks more like a penalty each time I see it. I'm still not convinced myself, but I like to go with Bonzo's kind of optimism now.
Interestingly, Rio. Sorry, buddy. I was just going to come in and say, on that point, on the penalty, I noticed while we were talking a few minutes ago that it was replayed two or three times.
And it's 1-0 Arsenal. It's 1-0 Arsenal. Absolutely cut open down our right-hand flank, and they got in behind us all too easily. Super cross, laid across by the Arsenal lad, and Lacazette, I think it is, got on the end of it, heads the ball in, 1-0 to the Arsenal, and way too easy for them. Although, is there a fraction offside there?
We have a goal, or do we? We're about to find out. Arsenal have the ball in the net. They have begun to celebrate before they kind of cease celebrations. Yeah, Pinky, what's happening?
Well, they're checking to see whether or not I think it's Bonner's back heel plays the Arsenal lad on side, but yeah, this is going to be a very tight call. This one. Let's see what we're doing. Now,
not
I think
for the first time
given.
this year.
Yeah, they've given the goal.
So Arsenal open the scoring. It's a little bit earlier than last year, but once again, VAR used to determine whether it should stand, and once again, VAR going in favour of our hosts. To be fair, it was a good header. It was a decent header by Lacazette, but yeah, I mean, Pinky completely cut open there, weren't we, on the our right hand side?
Very much so, and yeah, fair play to Lacazette. You know, he's found himself in acres of space. I mean, you know, my mum would have banged that in with that much space. Players of his caliber don't miss. You get a free header, 8 yards out, you're going to bury it, and but the damage was done by just the way they got in behind us far, far too easily. But I'm not sure if he's watching tonight, but if Scotty up in Newcastle is tuning in again, I refute absolutely that I'll put on a bit of weight. I think that's a scurrilous accusation. And for a sort of compensation, I demand you visit the Strawberry tonight, stand on a table and sing Bubbles at the top of your voice. That's the only thing that can mend us. That's it.
It's Arsenal 1, West Ham United 0, just coming up to 27 minutes gone. The only goal of the game coming from a Lacazette header just a few moments ago. Rio, just watching the run there that Lacazette makes, it looks like he loses Declan Rice. Any criticism on Deckers there, or, you know, is that just a good run and just a decent goal?
I think it's very intelligent forward play. I mean, it's a great finish.
Yeah.
It's a great run. You'd hope, being an international footballer, Declan would have a bit more awareness about him. But I think Alex has got a little bit more pace than that as well, so that doesn't help. One thing I will say is that Stockley Park Kaplunk squad have gone about turn, haven't they? I mean, because last year that would have been disallowed every single day of the week. They spent all last season trying to prove everything wasn't a goal. I think this year we're going to get everything is going to be a goal. So that's one to keep an eye on for the rest of the season.
Well, there was certainly not much in it, was there? You know, and again, it's kind of, I think it's all, a lot of this comes down to when they use the freeze frame, isn't it? Because, you know, roll back a couple, you know, 2 or 3 frames, roll forward another 2 or 3. Where do you? This has always been a contentious issue as far as I'm concerned. Is, you know, where do you draw the line in terms of putting the freeze frame? We don't get an opportunity to see, you know, where he would have been slightly before or after. So it's difficult to tell. But anyway, it's all irrelevant now because the goal's been given and Arsenal lead. Pinky, how do we get back from this?
I think we keep playing the way we've been playing. I mean, in all fairness, let's give Arsenal a little bit of credit. They've got between our lines very well to create the opportunity, allow them to get in behind. And I think you're bob on about Rice losing Lacazette.
Right.
You know, it's good play by Lacazette, but, you know, they've not got goals all over the pitch, Arsenal. I mean, you'd make sure you don't give Akers a space.
Yeah.
And Lacazette's one of them. So that's our error. I wouldn't be looking to VAR to particularly help us out on that anyway. But to get back into this, carry on doing what we were doing. You know, the positives for me, Antonio's power troubles this lot somewhat. Bowen, he's got a real trick against this lot. So I think if we can actually harness that combination and get them on the ball, then I think we've got a chance. You know, I'm not too despondent yet. It's disappointing, but not a disaster.
I think it's a little bit disappointing because it's Arsenal's first real effort on goal, isn't it? And, you know, they've broke us with that. So that perhaps, but yeah, I mean, I make you absolutely right. To be honest,
Arsenal falling forward again now. Willian squares it to the left. Lad pulls the trigger, and we're lucky there. I mean, Saka pulled the trigger, blast it high and wide. We were lucky. Yeah. Could have been 2-0 that.
Yeah, once again, Arsenal profiting from lots of space just outside our final third. And Ryan Fredericks is, you know, why is he that central there, Rio? I mean, why is he being dragged out of position so easily?
It's just complete defensive naivety, isn't it? We can't afford to give him that much space. And it kind of expands on the view we've held for Frederick since we started doing these broadcasts. That defensively, he really is a bit of a liability at times. He's all right going forward, but if you want a bit of solidity and tactical now when you're defending, you're not looking towards our free transfer from Fulham, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, let's give him credit where it's, you know, if we're going to criticise, he did sort of get across once he'd realised his error and, you know, do enough to force Saka off of the shot and put it wide. So we are a third of the way through the game anyway. It's Arsenal 1, West Ham United 0. West Ham, though, we might not have had plenty of chances, but we've certainly, you know, had our fair share of possession and been in some dangerous areas really so far. And, it's certainly not one of those games where, we might have seen in the past at the Emirates where we go there and defend and stick everybody behind the ball and just look to, maybe spring a surprise. I think we're at least having a bit of a go out there tonight. Anyway, we are wearing our new away kit tonight, Pinky. Are you a fan of this particular shirt? Obviously, it's not not a really important issue right now, but it's just I'll be honest with you. Late on the line, I'm looking at that shirt and I'm seeing the two claret bands that far apart, and it's affecting me somehow. I'm not quite sure, but I don't like it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the two bands are that far apart to make way for a sponsor's name.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
and that's a real shame for me. And and ultimately, I think there's far too many kits and kit changes in football. It's football. It's not the fashion industry. And I'd just like us to pick an away kit and stick with it for 30 years. And then in 30 years' time, you can get little Johnny for his 40th birthday, a new one kind of thing. I think the whole thing is just a rip off to parents, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And it's so bloody expensive as well, isn't it? Rio, of course, your children are a little bit older now, but I'm sure you've been caught out over the years having to buy replica kits every year or every 2 years. And I think we've just lost Rio. Typical timing.
Yeah, corner of West Ham though. Good attacking move. Masuaku chucked in a terrific cross. The Arsenal lad headed it behind for a corner. So we've now got looks like Bowen lining up to swing the left peg to send a corner across. Any second now. Ball comes in, doesn't beat the first man. There you go.
Okay. But once again, more another example, Pinky, of West Ham applying a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, we'd won the ball back, and again, what looked like a lazy legs, just slinging it forward, turned out to be a very good cross. Soucek got on one end of it, he headed it back across. Bit unlucky that it didn't fall to a West Ham player there. So, if we keep putting men forward, we'll get a chance against this Arsenal team.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's a couple of times now. Sorry, Pinky. Sorry, I was just going to say that he's not been really effective so far tonight, but a couple of times there's Soucek. I think the corner earlier where he nodded the ball back across, and yet again there on the edge of the penalty box, he's got up there first, and just seeing the replay now, just got up to I mean, it hasn't come to anything, but he's really key for us, and I think he's going to be key, isn't he, this season? In and around the box with his headers, a real target.
His aerial presence gives us another dimension. There's no question of that. And increasingly, where you're seeing teams go in one of two directions, either a team of relatively short-height players in the middle of the park, or huge power players. Sometimes just making sure that you've got someone that can win those aerial duels in the middle of the park benefits, but also having that capability when you're attacking, just for a player to drift in, get something on his Swede, creates an opportunity. I think he's a key player for us now, Tomas Soucek.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, we're going to need a few of big performances for him this season, that's for sure. Rio, good to see you back, buddy. We're having a little bit of trouble here tonight. Apologies to everyone for if we keep dipping in and out of the stream. Both Rio and I seem to be struggling a little bit with our broadband tonight. But 35 minutes gone, Rio. It's still 1-0. Can we get this back before half time?
It's much about mentality as ability at the moment. We got to not let that goal we conceded kind of knock us too much. We showed a lot of promise in the first 15, 20 minutes. We got to kind of recapture that kind of attitude and that mentality. And make it shown we're not afraid of them, because they offer nothing until.
Rio has just disappeared once again as he was talking about Arsenal not looking particularly threatening until the goal. And Pinky, I think that's a fair point, don't you? We sort of said that we were matching them man for man, really, up until the goal came along. And, we haven't really got too much to be worried about tonight, have we?
No, and they've got 3 or 4 players of genuine quality. I mean, let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah.
You know, their very best is probably better than our very best, if you know what I mean, on the pitch tonight. But you know, it needs 11 of them to click, same as it does for us. They've had one gilt-edged opportunity, which they've taken. I think we've had 2 or 3 not quite as good opportunities, but I think overall we've looked more threatening than they have. So I'm not despondent here at all. You know, we've got Antonio now pressing the keeper, and yeah, I mean, we're trying to pin them into their own sort of 18-yard box there. I just worry now, Arsenal pouring forward, how many players are getting back? Have we got the energy? Yes. So we've got enough behind the ball now. And again, that's encouraging. A super work rate from West Ham United there. Very, very pleased to see that. You know, we've got 5 across the back, 4 across the middle. We've got a nice defensive shape there now. So Arsenal are just playing square balls. We're organised.
Yeah, doing okay for the most part so far. Rio is back with us again. We lost you mid-sentence there, buddy. Having grief there tonight.
Good play by Fornals there. A little unlucky, but lovely footwork from the young lad there. And yeah, more of that, please, Pablo.
There's a little bit of controversy, it seems, on the KUMB Forum and elsewhere with regards to Arsenal's goal. Ironing Board, who is quite prolific on the forum of late, says the bloke's left shoulder is offside. Why are they drawing the line with their feet? And someone rather closer to home, who we know a little bit well, is quite often got things to say about referees and VAR. Our very own Noam, who of course is enjoying a weekend off tonight. Noam says, what is the point of VAR if you just ignore it? So Noam obviously also feels that there was something in that, but perhaps we can have another look at half time at that one, chaps, and just see if there's anything in that. Los Martilos on the KUMB Forum says, you just know later in the season there will be an almost identical incident involving one of our goals and it will be ruled out. Well, time will tell, of course.
What one of our goals? It's the way he tells them. Hey, hey. That's the optimistic West Ham there, right there for you. Goals as in plural. I like that.
Believer says this is going to be a long night. In all honesty, Moyes should be thinking about a change in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Put this creaky Arsenal defence under pressure. Without Tierney, they're not that much cop. And going back to the decision, E-Rifle says they didn't hang about with that VAR decision. Where were the lines from the armpit to the ground? Or have laws changed? Interesting point, Rio.
They're just showing a replay there of one of our attacks.
Yeah.
And it looks suspiciously like a handball by the Arsenal player.
Yeah. I think, it's Gabriel, isn't it, who's gone up. It's missed his head completely. And I mean, it's quite clearly off below the shoulder. I mean, we're talking here, just on the bottom of the shirt. And we've seen them given. We saw Noam, of course, will tell us if he was here, he would be going apoplectic right now, talking about how Liverpool were awarded one for a very similar incident in the first game of the season. Pinky, it's a penalty, isn't it?
It should have been, but I mean, we've just got out of jail there. I mean, I can't see who actually made the error, but we played an awful clearance and straight to the Arsenal player. The ball came straight back at us. We've got out of jail. We've cleared the ball through a corner to Arsenal. But again, that's the first time we've looked a little bit out of sorts at the back, properly out of sorts. And we're seeing a replay now of a Fredericks challenge on Saka, which looks quite ugly. And he's got a yellow card for it. Not the finest moment.
The first booking of the game. Going to Ryan Fredericks there. I mean, he's taken Saka out mid-riff, and I don't think we've got any complaints about that one, Rio, have we?
No, it's incredibly clumsy, isn't it? You can't even argue against that one. Legs up, took him out. That was in our place. The crowd would be going mental, cheering him on. But sadly, no. We ain't going to get nothing out now. And just apologise again. We've just been attacked here. someone's let off like a barrage of fireworks. So I couldn't hear nothing for the last 3 minutes. I went back online. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can send you out to find out at half time. Maybe someone's having a party that we can all be invited to later on. Who knows? Who knows?
That's why I've got kids. Well, I'm going to send them out.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Well, everyone's still going mad on the KUMB match thread about the offside decision. Dodger, who of course was one of our contestants on KUMB Mastermind last week, did very well to get through to the second round, said that is offside. The rule is that if a part of the body which can touch the ball, i.e. not the hand, is beyond the last defender, they're offside. His foot isn't offside, but his head, part of his chest and shoulder is. I really don't understand that decision or how they came to it in such a short time. I was just going to say a few minutes ago, Pinky, that it does seem to be when there's a VAR decision involved with ruling out a West Ham goal, it takes ages and ages to determine whether it's, you know, which way it should go. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point Dodger makes there, isn't it? I mean, within what, 30 seconds to 45 seconds, the decision came back as goal.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I'm quite clear on VAR. If you're banking on VAR to get your 40 points, yeah, you've got the wrong plan. You know, I mean, you need some goals and you need some clean sheets. Yeah, that's the name of the game. And I think there's far too much what I call clinging on for VAR to save our bacon. When the reality is, you know, for the goal we conceded, you know, Rice stopped tracking Lacazette. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah,
he stopped doing what he should have been doing. And whilst none of us like to particularly call out, you know, who's currently our best player in all probability, he didn't do his job when he should have done. That's nothing to do with VAR. That's a player switching off. And sometimes, you know, the medicine's not very nice, but being honest is the best medicine. That goal was down to us, not VAR.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair enough. I mean, we're always first to congratulate Rice when he has a good game and, you know, give him, you know, a pat on the back for doing things well. So it's only fair that, you know, we're critical if we feel that, you know, criticism is deserved. And, you know, we'll look at that one again. But, you know, that's certainly the impression I got at the time, that he was the man who was supposed to be tracking Lacazette and kind of switched off. And it was a brief second, but that's all it takes, Rio, isn't it, at this level? You know, we're talking about world-class strikers here, and, you know, just a tiny little mistake and it can be so costly.
Yeah, and that's why Lacazette cost 50 million quid.
Yeah.
His movement's impeccable. His finishing ability is impeccable. We need to really be switched on for those kind of moments. And one little slip, we're a goal down when we don't really deserve to be honest. We played pretty well up until that moment. And we've recomposed ourselves a bit more. Just looking at the forum, there's a lot of dissent in the ranks, even more so now about the penalty decision.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no one's happy with VAR at the moment. It seemed to be an incredibly quick decision to give their goal, incredibly quick decision not to award us a penalty. So, not many people are happy at the moment.
Do we know if the penalty decision was even looked at?
Judging by the forum, it doesn't look like it. I think it seems a cursory glance, if that. But it's something I'll have to kind of look up at half time, see if what the replays show, I think.
Well, I mean, we didn't see any replays on the screen on our TVs, did we? Get in! Pinky, over to you.
Oh, I mean, brilliant play there. And it actually started with Fornals way on the left, a lovely cut inside with the ball. I think he played it to let's see now. Soucek plays it wide to, I think it's Bowen, tears down his flank. Someone on the overlap, Fredericks on the overlap, cross comes in, and Antonio. In it goes, you don't save those. 1-1, West Ham, brilliant stuff.
West Ham are level. It is Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1 in the final minute of normal time in the first half. A fantastic flowing move. West Ham on the counter. And it is that man who we said needs to do it tonight, Ryan Fredericks, who lays the ball across. A fantastic delivery. Pinky's absolutely right. Michail Antonio, you don't miss those, but you can fail to be in the right spot at the right time. So Rio, full credit for Antonio for, you know, being alert there and getting himself in a place where, as Pinky says, you can't miss it from.
Very much so. I mean, that was a marvellous move. That's the best move we put together.
Yeah.
The restart. You know, I mean, we offered nothing last week in that kind of calibre. Today we've had a few chances, but that was just wonderful football and a true time on the West Ham tradition. Antonio actually looked like a proper striker, which he did towards the end of last season. Got across the front of his defender. Yeah, he just absolutely. That was true striker instinct there. Predatory, intelligent, and with the finish to match.
If I was David Moyes, I would be at half time. Never mind on Monday morning. At half time, I would get a hold of Sebastian Haller by the scruff of his neck and say, right, see what Mikel Antonio just did there. He went in where it hurts. He went in where you're going to get a knock, when you're going to get a little chip on the ankle from the defender. And when you're in the bath later on, you're going to be in a little bit of discomfort. But that's the job. That's what you get the 6 figures a week for.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to be a bit angry, a bit aggressive, and get in where it matters. And Antonio there, fabulous. That's how you do it. Bang on.
I think, do you know what? I think if I was David Moyes, I might be telling everyone to hang on while I log on to the KUMB Forum briefly and just stick 2 fingers up to all his, detractors who said we were going to get thrashed 5-0 at the start. Of course, we're only at half time, is a long way to go yet. But Rio, West Ham have matched Arsenal pretty much in every department so far. And we deserved that, didn't we? Very
much so. I mean, as you said, it's a massive area of despondency before the game. No one was confident. We didn't show nothing last week, which would indicate we could get anything out of this. But we've matched them. We've more than matched them, to be honest.
Yeah.
We offered more attacking verve in the first 20 minutes. A little error judgment, let's say, from Deck, but losing his man, switching off for that 1 little second, which at this level cost you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mentality has shone through. We've come back into it. And that move, what brilliant play by Fornals, excellent from Soucek. Bowen continued it. And Fredericks puts the right cross in the right area. Mm-hmm. All strikers thrive on. All strikers will thrive on that. Get into that 6-yard box and attack it, And that's what we've been lacking from our forwards for a long while. Antonio, towards the end of last season, come to his forward, that kind of thing. And today, it's exactly what we needed. Right at the right moment as well. We could have gone in really downhearted and feeling sorry for ourselves at half time. Mm-hmm. Instead, we're 1-1 with more than match. It's not the greatest Arsenal team in the world, but their forward line is world class. Yep. We're in this game. We're more than in this game. We can do this.
Yes, it is half time. It is Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1. And let's not forget, of course, that Arsenal's goal, still a lot of people feel it should have been ruled out for offside. We'll look at that again when we get the chance to look at the replay shortly. I'm sure they'll be played again at half time. And of course, we think West Ham should have had a penalty as well for a potential handball. There's definitely a very, very good shout there. So 5 or so minutes ago. So yeah, I mean, Arsenal really, Pinky, they've scored the goal. They went close once or twice, but Fabianski's not had a save to make, has he, really, all day? And it's good, isn't it? It's a decent half from West Ham.
I think we're being generally very good indeed that half. As you know, we gave away, ultimately it was a soft goal, but I think we've played most of the football. I think we've showed more attacking intent than Arsenal. I think we've got a game plan, so the manager has, got his message across to the players. I think we're doing very well indeed here tonight, and credit David Moyes and also credit Mikel Antonio, because in his time at West Ham United, remember the dark days when the statement on the website, he will never play at right back again, or whatever it was. And we seem almost to have found in desperation his true position, which is up top and running straight at the opposition. So well done, Antonio. But for me here tonight, keep positive and never mind a draw. We could go on and win this. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We are very much in this game, and well done, West Ham. Very well done.
I am loving this positivity that's oozing out of this live stream today. Yeah, why not? Let's go and win it. Why not? We were the better side in the first half. We scored. We're level at half time. We could have had a penalty. We should have had a penalty, quite frankly. You know, we're all a little bit biased. Everyone posting on the match thread is equally biased. We'll be going to that in just a minute. Actually, I'll ask Rio to just have a look and see what's going on there. And yeah, why not? Why not? Let's go out there and win it. We have seen West Ham United's first Premier League goal of the season anyway, regardless. And it's a beauty. It's a lovely team move, a flowing move that began in their own half and ended with Ryan Fredericks, who's been so often criticised for not putting in a decent final ball, putting it on a plate for Michail Antonio, who's made a fantastic run to get in a really good position ahead of his marker and leave himself with a simple chance, having worked extremely hard to do it. It's 1-1. So good stuff. A quick look at the YouTube chat to see what's going on there before I go over to Rio on the match thread. Polaroid says, like the Spanish Inquisition, I wasn't expecting that. Neither were we, really. I think we would have been reasonably happy going in just one behind at half time. And coming up to the second half, starting again. Hobo says, great goal, West Ham. That handball, how's that not a penalty? Well, you know, it's quite a common complaint, Hobo. I think Neil from Down Under, evening all from South Australia at 5:20 a.m. on Sunday morning, mate. That's the worst Australian accent you've ever heard. There it is. There's the boomerang. There's the boomerang Pinky showing us. For our Australian friends, Neil. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Gnome says, evening, guys. Good to see you, Gnome. It's a shame you, as we said, it's a shame you're not on here to pan the referee and VAR. We've missed that tonight. I think your 5-minute monologue about PGMOL and the dangers, inherent dangers of VAR taking over football. Neil also says, I missed the first 20 minutes, but I've liked what I've seen since, apart from Arsenal's goal. Well, just to fill you in, Neil, we were pretty damn good in the opening 20 minutes. We started strongly. We weren't many chances, but we had a couple of minor opportunities, and we've looked pretty good so far. So yeah, we're all very happy with what we've seen so far. Rio, is everyone on the match thread a little bit happier now, having seen what we've witnessed in the last 45 minutes?
Yeah, we've got an air of positivity. It's around England, particularly the start of this season. It's unbelievable. Nightmare just put Fredericks has that in his locker. It's his best attribute, and we really need to see more of it. Smuts has put that's where he needs to be, not hugging the left. It's referring to Antonio here. Yeah. I'm sure the team with Haller in the middle and Antonio and Bowen buzzing around him would have paid dividends. Yep, and Friday Hammer. For once, Antonio was in the middle instead of the box hanging out in the wing, which reinforces the previous comment. And look what happens. We should be going for this, not setting back. I'd also like to point out, with regards to the penalty shout, I've checked the BBC Sport commentary, and it said 34 minutes VAR check for possible penalty. So they obviously did look at it. And with regards to the Arsenal goal, my youngest son's just come in, seen the replay and went, that's offside.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Corey now. Knows what he's on about sometimes.
Corey, now you've seen that, can we send you off up the road to figure out what the fireworks are about, please, buddy? If Dad's prepared to let you go. But well, I think Corey, we all agree with you anyway, don't we? It did look, but I mean, Rio, that begs the question: if they did look at it, why didn't they give it as a penalty?
I can't understand it. Again, the BBC Sport thing mentioned that it seemed to hit that area under his arm where the T-shirt was lagging. But we've seen a soft penalty given against Man United today.
Yes.
I can't understand why it hasn't been given, to be honest. No. Again, interpretation is not consistent from referees, and Stockley Park and whoever's playing Kerplunk at that particular moment. Someone also mentioned the forum that with the Lacazette goal,
yeah,
they're using thicker lines than they would do if they're trying for the bigger clubs than they would do for us. So that's another thing to take into consideration.
As far as conspiracy theories go, that's got to be up there with the best of them, but we like that one anyway. quickly, just quickly looking at the match stats for the first half. Possession-wise, Arsenal was expected, had an awful lot more, 65% to West Ham's 35%. But, you know, interestingly, the stats that really matter, shots, 3 for Arsenal, 3 for West Ham United. Shots on target, Arsenal 1, the goal, West Ham United 2. Corners 1 for Arsenal, 3 for West Ham. Fouls, Arsenal committed 5, West Ham committed 7. But of course, as we always say, the only stat that counts is the one in the goals column, and it's 1 for Arsenal, 1 for West Ham United. Pinky, any surprise looking at those stats? I mean, I don't think we thought at half-time we would have had more shots on target than Arsenal, would we?
No, I mean, you'd say that'd be unusual for any away team to be doing that. But,
yeah,
you know, Arsenal are going to be comfortable on the ball. You know, they've got a number of technically competent players. And if you're playing the square passes, left to right, right to left, you can clock up a whole catalogue of pass counts. You know, Man City will do that all season. They'll have 1,000 passes in a game, but the only ones that really matter are the ones that are going forward and the ones that split defences.
Sure.
For me, I think we've more than shaded that half. I thought, you know, regards to the stats, I think we are playing the better of the two teams. And I think Mikel Arteta would be the less happy of the managers, that's for sure. Not just with the scoreline, but actually how the teams are playing.
Yeah.
Because you could argue that we've conceded a goal based on a dubious offside decision and a mistake by one of our players, whereas I think our goal that we scored was genuinely good play, terrific football. We've torn up field, and I'm a bit disappointed with what they're showing in the replays of it, because they're showing it from after Fornals had done the really crucial work on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
But a fabulous team goal by West Ham United, and you know, we thoroughly deserve to go in at the break all square. And I think what I'd like to see in the second half is more positivity from West Ham, and what I don't want to see is us settling for a point 30 minutes from the end. You know, if it's 5 minutes from the end, I might settle for a point.
Yeah,
but not half an hour. I think we could go on and win this.
Put yourself in David Moyes' shoes, if you will, Pinky, temporarily. How are you sending your what instructions are you giving your team for the opening 10, 15 minutes of the second half?
Hang on.
And you said that you'd like to see us go out and attack, but
yeah, but hang on to the ball. Whatever you do when you're distributing the ball, find a player in a West Ham shirt. You know, because the pressure's on Arsenal here now. They're the home team. They're the team that have the genuine aspirations to be a so-called top 4 club.
Yeah.
And, you know, games against the likes of us, which, you know, might not be the glamour tie that the Arsenal fans really like, but they're the ones that matter in terms of just accumulating points.
Yeah.
And if we go there tonight and we win, you know, a couple of more defeats, and then any thought of a top 4 place for Arsenal starts to look a very long way away. So they're under massive pressure in the second half. So hang on to the ball, deny them the opportunity, and just let them actually mentally disintegrate. That's what I'll be saying. Keep hold of the ball and don't gift them a goal.
Good stuff. Rio, would you go along with that? You know, just kind of try and frustrate Arsenal a little bit so they, you know, perhaps make errors themselves?
Yeah, very much so. Keep a shape. We did really well kind of defending, apart from 2 little lapses of concentration. Kept kind of 2 banks of 5. We have to keep that. Not be wasteful. Just continue very much in the same vein as we approach the game, you know. Just have that little bit more mental sharpness and awareness of what's happening around us. But yeah, this game is up for grabs, you know. Arsenal have got a fantastic forward line. Their defence is by and large shocking. There's no reason we can't win this. We have to keep that same mentality and attitude as we did in the first half.
Good stuff. We're just seeing the replay again of the 2 replays of the 2 penalty incidents. And, you know, I think the more you look at those the first one from Bowen. I mean, Pinky and I both said when it happened at the time that we didn't think there was anything in it, but it's another one of those where it's not an obvious foul, but you've seen them given. The defender's foot has come across Bowen. Bowen's not looking for it. He's gone over the foot. So one of those, isn't it? Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But I still can't, for the life of me, Pinky, figure out why, having, especially as Rio has ascertained, a VAR check having taken place for the potential handball, why it's not been given. And,
I just
why
wonder
we haven't
if,
had at least
if
one of
the
them.
impact of VAR is such that referees are no longer giving decisions because they're taking the view, well, if I've got it wrong, VAR will pick it up, which of course, depends upon somebody in a caravan 300 miles away saying, let's have another look at that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm not a fan of VAR, and you're not going to hear me say anything positive about it. I genuinely think it's ruining the game. And all this cobblers about, oh, well, you must get the right result and all the rest of it. The fact we've got contributors to KUMB making comments about, they use a thicker or thinner crayon to draw the lines, depending, but that just shows what a farce it is. It's a farce.
It certainly has proved, and we thought it would change a little bit this year, but it doesn't seem we're any closer to having the right decision made on every occasion. And there's always going to be an option for the fans of any club to say that their club's been hard done by, but you've got to say, having looked
tonight in the Manchester United Crystal Palace game, the retaken penalty, because a Manchester United player had his big toe, and it can't have been any more than his big toe, in the box when the first penalty was taken and missed. I'm not being funny, but that's not what VAR was supposed to be about. That's just absolute nonsense. Now I'm delighted that this happened because it meant that Palace beat Man United at Old Trafford. But come on, it's clear and obvious. I don't think so.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's it was ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous decision. But it's Man United, so who cares? They've had enough over the years, haven't they? We have kicked off, of course. We're in the second half. Just over a minute played. Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1. West Ham, we're feeling a little bit hard done by. We're level, but we felt that we should have perhaps had one or two penalties in the first half there. So off we go. It's all go. It's all to play for in the second half. Can we do it, Rio? Let's have a half-time prediction. Can we sneak this?
We can. If I won't actually put my head on the line and say we will. We can. I'll just stick at that. We can. Definitely we can.
Okay.
Like I said, I've got nothing to fear from them in terms of their defensive work. Their attacking line scares me. But we've shown a lot of discipline, apart from there's two tiny little lapses. And actually, Arsenal got a corner at the moment. Williams just about to take.
Right.
Which we've...
I can't stop myself. I've got to comment on this for Diop. Yeah. He's about 6'5". He's the size of my house. Yeah. And Arsenal had a shot. He's got his hands covering his nether regions. This is in the box. Yeah. And he's trying to turn away from the shot that's coming in. You're a centre back, son. It's supposed to hurt. The reason they're all ugly is because of getting hit in the face with hard struck shots their whole lives. He's got this strange idea that he's got to stay looking pretty till he's 50. If you're playing the centre back, you've got to go in where it hurts. And turning your back when the opposition have had a shot, please, that's not your job. Face the ball up and take some pain. Yeah, awful from Diop there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I just wonder if he's worried about giving away a penalty, given that we've been denied potentially two in the first half there. But anyway, it comes to nothing. So we'll take that.
So he's got his hands over his, delicate parts, because, putting them behind his back wouldn't actually make it harder for a penalty, would it?
I'm trying to find an excuse for him here. Look, obviously not
too much of that.
Well.
I'd call it for what it is.
3 minutes gone. 4 minutes gone actually in the second half. I don't think we've been over the halfway line yet, Rio, have we? In this half, Arsenal have certainly come out and looking very determined so far.
Yeah, they've got to step up to the mark now, haven't they? There's a lot of big money players, big reputations there. Certain striker earns $400,000 a week. If he can't get the better of a motley crew of defensive misfits, then he really wants to be looking at himself. There's a couple of interesting comments on the forum. Just going back, this comes during the half-time break.
Yes,
Mr. Soucek. Just as we're just clearing the ball, hopefully. Yeah, Mr. Soucek put Fornals off and Heller on, please. Which is something I really can't understand, because I thought Fornals, again, was incredibly bright in the first half. He showed some genuine moments of quality. But I think that's going back to what we were saying earlier, that he's still not entirely appreciated by the bulk of our support.
Yeah.
There was also a comment from Brother Nero, who's got a fun fact to throw into the mix. Mikel Antonio scored more goals, 39, for West Ham United than any other West Ham player whose surname begins with an A. Where he's pulled that one, I do not know. But I think it's gone from the ridiculous to the sublime with them two comments. That's what
we do love it. We do love a silly stat, let's be honest. And as silly stats goes, that's a pretty good one. I was just trying to think what letter might have scored the most, actually. Well, I mean, we know that it's Vic Watson. It's a W, closely followed by an H for Hurst. But I wonder what's the most popular in the sort of top 10 or 20. But anyway, thank you for that stat. We do love a silly stat on the Eyes Up Mother Brown stream. 6 minutes of the second half gone. It's still Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1. We've just seen now, Pinky. What were we saying the other night about Arthur Masuaku's bad choices in front of goal?
He does all the hard work. He's done a lovely little dribble. The manager's probably purring, going, "Yes, that's why I've picked him."
Yeah.
And then he pulls the trigger from about 30 yards, and it's it looks like Johnny Wilkinson's efforts to convert it at Twickenham. I mean, it's just do the hard work, beat the players, and just play the simple pass. How hard can this be, Arthur? Please, heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Arsenal now looking very comfortable on the ball and quite threatening. William there. Rice clears it with a header, and Bowen, I think, should have done a little bit better there, but Arsenal's still in possession, and we are a little bit under siege here at the moment. I think it's fair to say.
Yes,
5 across the back, 4 right in front of them. We're reasonably organised, but I fear for us a little bit. I think there's a goal coming. There was a goal coming, and it isn't for West Ham.
Yeah, I'm not looking. We've not started particularly brightly, have we, in this second half? I just wanted to give a quick credit there to Aaron Cresswell, who made a very important clearance, just as one of those crosses in that move came in from the left, and he dove in ahead of his opponent there to get the ball clear. So West Ham kind of hanging on a little bit at the moment, Rio. 7 and a bit minutes gone in this second half, but it's still 1-1. So we'll take that, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal to come out and make a statement of intent. Well, with that last passage of the play, Pinky just finalised there was some shocking football. Arsenal played some really loose balls, and just when you thought that we was going to clear it, Bowen decides to play it back into the danger zone. So, Moyes and Arteta must be tearing their hair out there. I'll just follow up with that little stat. Apparently, Mikel Antonio, and this is from Puff Daddy, he's only the second player to score in 4.
Pinky?
I mean, a beautiful cross in from my favourite current West Ham player, Arthur Masuaku. And who was on the end of it? Again, it's Antonio, and a terrific save by Leno there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Credit the keeper there. He's gone down where it could hurt him. You can't really see clearly. I mean, it's one of those ones. Does it go over the line? No, it doesn't. He holds it the correct side. But again, good chance there for West Ham and lovely crossing by Arthur.
Are we expecting a little bit more from Antonio there? Should he have scored really from that position?
I think that'd be a bit harsh. I mean, you know, it's
come off his inner
chance.
thigh, hasn't it, Pinky?
He's not made a good connection, but it was probably the shock of seeing a ball getting delivered from the flank that was inch perfect. You know,
did you say flank Antonio or plank? Probably, sorry, there.
Yeah, he was probably and Antonio was probably assuming it was going to be a foot higher, a foot lower, or left or right. You know, the fact that Arthur got it in the right spot was probably what did it.
Yeah. Yeah, great chance for West Ham. I think I agree. I think it would be a little bit harsh to criticise Antonio for that. It's coming at a really awkward height. As I say, he's called it on the inside of his thigh. He just couldn't get his leg round it. Just unfortunate. Rio, I do apologise. We cut you off mid-flight there just a few moments ago. Just to go back to what you were saying there.
Yeah, Arsenal back on the attack, and we've hopefully, we got a foul at that, so it's fine. Yeah, just going back to the actual chance. I mean, I think if Soucek had been the first man rather than Bowen, we could have been 2-1 up. Bowen missed it by about just a couple of inches, and Soucek was a man behind Antonio. The roles have been reversed. We might well have been in a lead there. Yeah. Going back to that stat, this is from Puff Daddy.
Yes.
Antonio is only the second player to score in 4 successive West Ham Premier League away fixtures after Freddie Knuty. If that turns out to be true, he's gone up in my estimation a little bit, Mr. Puff.
Is that that must be Premier League era? Surely not all
It's
time.
probably the Premier League era, definitely.
Mustn't it? Yeah. But good stuff. I mean, we're not going to knock it. I mean, Antonio, as a lot of people have called for Hilaire to be reintroduced to the team after scoring a hat-trick against Ipswich and 2 goals the other night, all right, against lower league opposition, but he's been finding the net on a reasonably regular basis since, the pre-season began. But, Antonio doing the business again there. And good to see. We've managed to pick up, and we had a pretty dodgy opening 7 or 8 minutes of this second half, but we're kind of slowly, grabbing out, but we're hauling our way back into this game now. But 56 minutes gone. Anyway, Arsenal still on the attack there, and we're managing to keep them out at the moment. But that's about it. We talked Pinky. We spoke about the opening 15 minutes of the second half. We're getting close to having successfully navigated that now. What about the next 15 minutes? What do we do? Do you still just sit tight, or do we look to expand a little bit?
My plan for the opening 15 was for us to hang on to the ball, but clearly Arteta gave the same talk to his team and said, "Let's make sure we have the ball." And I think he's trumped me there. But I think we're being
idea was good.
Pretty disciplined in terms of our shape when we don't have the ball.
Yeah.
So the players are clearly responding to Moyes' instruction. So I see as an just played back. So we're making a brief foray into the Arsenal half, but it's our shape that I'm finding quite encouraging actually. The guys have got the message. This is how we're going to play, and they're executing the manager's plan quite well at the minute, I'd say. Yes,
we're doing okay. We're definitely hauling ourselves back into this game now, having struggled a bit at the start. There's still chances really at a premium, aren't they, Rio, so far? We've not really seen too many clear-cut opportunities for either side, have we?
No, I mean, I think Arsenal have been quite sloppy around our area, which does help. We've not really made any kind of incision apart from that one cross. But we're knocking the ball around quite nicely. Let's just hope we're not wasteful. That's the thing. We've got to keep hold of it and create inroads, take our time, be a little bit more patient. I think this is going to come, I've got a feeling.
I like that. I'll go along with that feeling. It's probably a really bad time to point out that I had this down as a 1-1 in the prediction league this week. So That's if you're looking for something to put the kiss of death on it, that's probably it. But quickly jumping into YouTube chat, Mark Walker. I've been looking at this comment for a few minutes and just wondering what this means. Mark says, I'm still owed £30 from the last time we played Arsenal. Mark, if you could explain why that's the case, we'd love to know, because
I could explain, but
Pinky, over to you. Of course, Mark, one of your colleagues
it's
in away
a
games.
scurrilous accusation, and one that I utterly refute. And you know, I've offered him the choice of Pinky cash, which is very similar to club cash.
Yeah.
It's not actual money you get to spend. It's just kind of like a promissory note. You know, and so you know, I think it's very harsh from him there. Very harsh.
Okay, well, that's that one settled anyway. Mark, it's good to see you. Long time no see, my friend. It's good to see you pop up on the stream and let us know what you think of the game as we go along. Ionizer, interesting comment. Rio says, I know he's injured, but let's drop Mark Noble every week. Shocking or not? What do you think?
We mentioned this the other night, didn't we?
We did.
Mark's got to wind down his appearances, hopefully. If we can get Pablo in this kind of central role, I'm more than happy. There's a role for Mark Noble at this club, obviously there is, but on a regular basis, not for me, not anymore. We need to be looking to the future rather than hanging on to our past and living in hope. Just to say that, had the ball come in, kind of Soucek knocks it back. Bowen had a shot, deflects away from a corner. But again, we're looking decent here. You know, we've got another corner.
Yeah,
we're causing some hassles.
Yeah,
I think Tommy Soucek from this corner could be the one.
It's Soucek's height again, his aerial presence.
Yeah,
where he's getting on the end of things and heading the ball back across goal. Yeah, it creates opportunities for us. Corner comes in, and now Arsenal are breaking with Willian. This could be dangerous. He plays it left, and it's Lacazette bombing down the left flank. Plays the ball across, switches play to the right, and Arthur is there. Heads it back to Fabianski. No problemo. Well done, West Ham. Nicely tidied up.
Yes, an hour gone. We're 2/3 of the way through the game, gentlemen, and it's still Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1, and we're looking relatively comfortable. Once again, I don't want to tempt fate, but I think it's fair to say, touching plenty of wood as I'm saying these things, and doing all right. 61 and a half minutes gone. Change is going to be coming up soon, Pinky. What do we think for West Ham? Who's more going to be looking to shift on and off the field?
I wouldn't make any change at all. I mean, I genuinely wouldn't. I think I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And I'm not seeing anything on the bench that would cause me to say I'll bring him on at this point in the game. Yeah. If it's 1-1 with 10 minutes to go, you might sling Yarmolenko on for 10 minutes to see if we can snatch a win. Yeah. But I don't think we're at that point yet. And I've got a big shout out for Pablo Fornals tonight. I think he's been terrific this evening. I really do. And it's such a shame if a number of our supporters can't see what he's bringing to the team. I think he's starting to settle in now, and he's playing well. You know, dare I say it, he looks like a kind of an Arsenal type player. Very comfortable on the ball. He's looking good for me.
Yeah, love that. Another player that there was a bit of criticism over his inclusion in the team, Rio, was Arthur Masuaku. Now, of course, we saw him, do reasonably well the other night. But how do you think he's performed tonight? Do you think he's, he's deserved his position in the starting 11, given what we've seen in the opening hour?
I think he's contributed massively. He's patrolling that left flank, looking after Creswell a little bit when we defend. When we go forward, he's putting some very good crosses. I think for the second, the chance we just missed with Antonio didn't hit it. It was a great crossing from Arthur. Yeah. When he's on form, he offers that. Sadly, he doesn't do it on a regular basis, which is the issue with him. But that's why we pay £6 million for him and not 45.
Exactly.
But no, he's done very well tonight, and he's contributed to our setup. We're working in really solid banks, and we're doing really well. So I completely agree with Pinky. I wouldn't look to make any change at the moment, because as a unit, we're looking decent and we're looking solid, and we're still eking out the odd chance here and there. And this is where we're going to. I still feel we might actually going to nick this. Don't know what it is. There's something coming. Unless we say that Williams just gone off and Pepe's come on.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. I think Williams by far and away looked Arsenal's best player tonight. So I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, it's an interesting change, that one, isn't it? I mean, I wonder if it'll lead to a change of shape slightly in Arsenal's lineup there. But Masuaku, Arthur Masuaku, Pinky, we all know about his defensive frailties. We all know he's not the best fullback, but just playing, I mean, is this a masterstroke in some way by David Moyes, that pushing Cresswell more central and allowing Masuaku to have that space in front of him to run at, and having sort of Fornals released from that responsibility of having to track back and support Cresswell on the left-hand side? I mean, this seems to be working, right, so far?
Against Arsenal, it'll work.
Right.
I'm not sure it'll work against other teams. I mean, Masuaku, for me, look, he's a good dribbler. You know, when he's running forward, he can dribble. When it all connects properly, he can throw in a decent cross.
Yeah.
But it's not consistent enough, and his decision-making is poor. His decision-making is poor. And for me, you know, the formation is right.
Yeah.
It's the personnel that needs upgrading. And if we could get a better version of Masuaku, I'd be happy with that. And Soucek's just had you see, that's more like it. He's a player who knows he's not that pretty, and a little bit more of bashing around isn't going to make it much worse, is it? That's the attitude you want. He should be a centre back, Soucek. But you know, I mean, you know, you're looking at this here tonight. It's a very good West Ham United performance, you know, and I was just going through mentally there, who would the man of the match be? And I'm thinking, well, Soucek's had a good game. Antonio's had a good game. I think Fornals has had a very good game. Bowen's played well. You know, we've got 4 or 5 players tonight playing somewhere near their potential, and it's very encouraging to see. The chairman must be loving it. He must be thinking, I could sell maybe 2 or 3 more and get away with it. You know, never mind strengthening the squad. You know, the chairman's probably thinking we can pay the gas bill in February now. That's the bar.
Pinky.
And again, it's Soucek. You know, again, his aerial presence. A bit of a scramble there, but very unlucky not to get a second goal there, West Ham United.
We said it, didn't we? Rio said it as well. You know, that quite fancies us to do it again. Soucek's been there or thereabouts so often so far in this game, and so close. I mean, it's credit again where it's due. It's a decent cross coming from Masuaku from the left. Soucek's risen like a salmon.
Antonio that got the header off. Sorry, it was Antonio that hit the bar with his header. But Soucek was just coming in behind him. But again, you know, it is, yes. Sorry,
you're right. You're absolutely right. I thought it was Soucek too, got to say. But it's Antonio so close to doing it again, Rio. This is amazing. This is cracking stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Overhit cross by Bowen. Again, Arthur puts it back into a dangerous area, and Antonio just gets in front of Soucek, and bit of a comedy of errors. Was Leno filling the ball, but we're on a attack here again. Left hand side. Get over. And we're just not getting the breaks when we need to. But we're asking a few questions, you know.
We certainly are.
Taking there, Arthur.
In the funds.
Yeah. I'm speechless, actually. I didn't really, you know, as I said, even though I predicted a 1-1 draw in the prediction league, I didn't think we'd be this close and looking this strong against Arsenal. It's good stuff, this, Pinky.
Well, last 10 minutes possession, West Ham 62%, Arsenal
Wow.
38.
Wow.
So, you know, we're well on top in the last 10 minutes. So, no, but let's make sure we don't get mugged at the back. That's
Yeah.
the main concern, because, you know, they do have a couple of world-class finishers in their team. And it's one of those ones where we might need 3 or 4 chances to get the winner. Arsenal, I suspect, might only need 1 gilt-edged chance. And that's how they did us at their place earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Let's not have a repetition of that. But I mean, we're looking good. We are looking really good here tonight.
We're looking so much better than against Newcastle last week. And it's like chalk and cheese. Rio, let's dive into the forum again and the match thread in a couple of minutes when you've got a moment, and we'll see what people are making of this last 10-15 minutes. As Pinky said, West Ham with nearly 2/3 of possession since about the hour mark. But we're getting to that time now. David Moyes has refrained from making any substitutions. Wisely, we think. Pinky predicted it. Pinky said, he wouldn't be making any changes. And why would you? Because it looks like we've got them on the rack at the moment. Arsenal have made 1 change so far, with Willian being replaced by Pepe. A quite surprising change the team here felt, given Willian's influence in the game prior to that. But it looks to be a little bit of consternation.
Take him.
Pinky?
Yeah, again, Arsenal, they're looking dangerous on the break, and maybe I should be a bit embarrassed to be shouting out to hack down the opposition's player. That's the Sunday morning footballer in me. But if you're going to concede a free kick, do it 40 yards from goal, not 20 yards from goal. I mean, I'm a bit, I'm not much of a footballer, but I'm quite good at sums, and 40 is further away than 20. And but
yes.
We're still doing okay. We're still doing fine.
Yeah,
Antonio in possession now. Yeah.
It is Arsenal 1, West Ham United 1. We are in the final 20 minutes of normal time. Will someone get a winner? Can we sneak all 3 points again at the library for the first time in 5 seasons? Who knows? Rio thinks we might. I'm kind of inclined to agree with him. The positivity is kind of overwhelming on the stream tonight. It's all good stuff. Rio, is that being mirrored on the match thread?
Yeah, well, in some respects, Phoenix 232 has just put, what worries me is that we should be out of sight in this game, which means it's only going to go one way. I can completely sympathise with that. We're just going to break again. Bowen's got the ball. Oh, he had to go left there. We had some space on the left. He should have gone left there, Jared. But yeah, promising stuff. Also going back, there's also trying to find it now. There we go. Ironing board. Mentioned that there was a Xhaka tackle about 3 or 4 minutes back. He said, surely that deserves a red card for that. He was nowhere near the ball. And also a couple of people agree with him. But
we're not talking about the Soucek challenge,
quieted down a little bit. Yeah, I think he might have been, actually.
Right.
But surprisingly, the forum has gone a little bit quiet. I don't know, it's because everyone's got a sense of anticipation. We're glued to the screen. We've got nothing to moan about. I
think that's more likely to be it, isn't it? That we're doing surprisingly well at the moment, and everyone's kind of a bit shell shocked and doesn't know what to say. Anything else sort of standing out in there right now?
I'm just going to check refresh. There's a new page just open up, so just going to go through it. One was class there with the attack that just petered out a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. No, it's gone very incredibly quiet.
We do find this, don't we?
Days I like.
Yeah, it's how often do we see this when West Ham are performing poorly? The match thread is absolutely awash with posts, and the forum can get a little bit slow at times when that happens. But when we're doing well like this, people just it's like people haven't got anything to moan about, and that seems to be where we are right now. So let's hope that no one else posts between now and 20 minutes from here. Which hopefully we can hang on or even do even better. Pinky, we're just seeing Arsenal sort of get a little bit further forward. They've won a corner a few moments ago there.
Yeah, I mean, the big difference for me tonight for us is we have been, generally speaking, excellent in the transition phase of the game.
Yeah.
You know, our ability to switch from defence to attack, I think, has been very good tonight, and to a certain extent, vice versa. Pablo Fornals tonight has been absolutely immense. He's, you know, he has been terrific this evening, and you know, dare I say it, we're starting to see why Pellegrini paid 24 million quid for him.
Yeah.
But you know, Arsenal are trying to get us on the break. As long as Diop maintains his concentration, we should be okay. But if you wanted me to name the player that's going to cost us with a momentary lapse of doziness, I'll be concerned about Issa Diop at the minute. That's the area I think they'll exploit.
Yeah.
Down his channel.
Well, it remains to be seen whether that's the case. I've been thinking about this because we can be quite critical of Diop on the stream and in our podcasts. And do you ever get the feeling, Pinky, that perhaps it's the uncertainty with the fullbacks, the player playing to the side of him, that sort of lends to him being a little bit dozy at times and a little bit, you know, lacking in concentration because he's sort of worried about what's coming in from the side as well, rather than perhaps being able to concentrate on his job 100%. You think there's anything in that, maybe?
A marginal amount, but you know, I'm not a big fan of young centre backs.
Yeah.
Again, it's about decision making,
Yeah.
and we just saw there briefly on screen. You know, the Arsenal lad moved his hips, sent Diop the wrong way far too easily.
Yeah.
Far too easily. And you know, Diop, don't get me wrong. In 2 years' time, I think Diop will be a very good centre back.
Yeah.
But does David Moyes, you know, is West Ham United the club where we can actually say in that position we're going to allow a player 3 seasons to become the player we want him to be?
Yeah.
You know, that's how you end up with the Championship. And so for me, Diop needs to perform more consistently, more often, to remain in the team. And it's no coincidence. So that's the one position where we seemingly have some sort of bidding with the Burnley lad. Because I can't imagine it's Bonham that's going to be left out. So, you know, for me, Diop is identified as the one that's the problem.
Yeah, interestingly, when we spoke to Tony Carr last week, you know, and asked him who he would be investing any available funds in, he stressed he would go for 2 centre backs, didn't he, and a left back as well. So he clearly agrees with you and feels that Diop is a little bit green and perhaps, you know, needs a little bit more time or perhaps support there.
I think, to be fair, it's more me a case of agreeing with him. I don't think Tony Carr's ever going to need my opinion on a footballer. Yeah.
Who knows? Tony may be a fan of the streams and may have kind of subconsciously heard you talking about that. We're seeing another change. I've just seen another change for Arsenal. The second change, no changes still from West Ham. David Moyes clearly very happy with what he's seen so far tonight as we approach the last 13 minutes or so. The change is, well, you know, Lacazette is coming off. I don't know if he's perhaps not 100% fully fit, but Arteta clearly feeling that he needs something a little bit different out there. Rio, that's got to be, you know, a slight tick in West Ham's favour, isn't it? That Arteta feels that, you know, he needs to bring someone else in there.
Yeah, I can see why that is. But also Nketiah's got fresher legs, younger legs.
Yeah.
He's coming off the back of a pretty strong end of last season, and he forced his way into the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count our chickens just yet. Once this corner's cleared, I'll just mention a comment on the forum.
Okay. Well, take us through the corner then, buddy, and we'll move straight into
corner comes in. We've actually managed to concede another one. I think it's a slice clearance there by Arthur. It really wasn't going anywhere, but instead of trying to put it further up the field, he's just actually hacked at it. So Arsenal got on the other side.
Proves just that about very dangerous in the box.
Typical Masuaku, you could say there, but at least it's gone the right way anyway.
Fires it in the near post. We clear it this time. Gone back straight to the Arsenal player. Knocks it back. Bellerin puts it in. There's a lot of I am rubbish at these bits where they've just got down left of Bamiyang. We clear it. Now it's a bunch of nerves for me.
Yeah.
Arsenal score in play. Bamiyang slings it in. We clear it again. And can we break away? Antonio flicks it on, but Arsenal get possession. Yeah, just someone Floydie Hammer on the forum put, we're making loads of chances, but not taking them. That's what we should be using the bench now. Yarmolenko is clinical. I'm not sure who I bring Yarmolenko on for at the moment, though. That's the thing. I'm not exactly see who makes way at the moment. We need some fresh legs, I think, but who do you take off?
I think this is probably the exact conundrum that David Moyes is experiencing right now. I would imagine he's looking at that team out there thinking that they're performing really solidly and working fantastically well as a unit. Bowen hasn't had a lot of joy tonight as he's worked really, really hard. It just hasn't quite come off for him today. So that, I suppose, would be the obvious change if you were looking to introduce
Here comes Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko's about to come on, and I think it will be Bowen that gets hooked.
We've called it. We've called it. Look at that.
Fair play to the manager. I mean, did I say with 10 minutes to go I might risk Yarmolenko? You
did indeed.
And because fair play to Moyes here now. Yeah, we're away at Arsenal. No one really gave us much hope tonight.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes to go, and he's going for the win. So this is the so-called negative David Moyes. The David Moyes apparently doesn't play attacking football and just settles for points and all the rest of it. Well, we've not seen that tonight. He's set the players out with a very good game plan, and we're in a position now, not by hanging on all night, but by playing good football. We've created the opportunity where we could go on and win it. And he's going to play Yarmo. Let's see what he does.
10 minutes of normal time, just under 10 minutes of normal time remaining. It is Arsenal 1, West Ham United 0. Arsenal opening the scoring in the 25th minute through Lacazette with a pretty strong header that left Fabianski no chance. But West Ham equalised on the cusp of half-time. Ryan Fredericks sending over a low cross for Michail Antonio to convert from close range. A beautifully worked goal. West Ham United's first Premier League goal of the season. And a pretty classic West Ham kind of goal, we thought. Second half, no goals. Couple of substitutions so far. Willian replaced by Pepe on 64 minutes. Lacazette replaced by Nketiah on 77. Yarmolenko coming on for West Ham with about 10 minutes to go. So it's about this point that we normally go around everyone and say, when it's level like this, do we see anyone winning it? And if so, who? Pinky, let's come to you first for your 10-minute prediction.
It genuinely could go either way. I mean, Yarmo's not on yet, so he's still on the touchline. But this could go either way. It's been a pretty decent game of football actually. But I'd credit Mr. Moyes tonight. Yeah. His plan appears to have dominated Arteta's plan, and I think now we've got a chance to get Yarmolenko on as a break in play. So I think goal kick to West Ham.
Okay, so we can't force you into getting off that fence, Pinky, with a prediction from here. You think it might? Well, you think it's going to stay the way it is, possibly?
No. I think there's a winning goal in this.
Ooh, a winner.
I don't know which way it's going.
Okay, we shall see what happens. Rio, are you going to be any more committed than Pinky in terms of predicting a potential winner on this one?
I'm actually with him 100%. There's a goal in this. I don't know which way. As I speak, Yarmolenko is coming for Bowen.
Yeah.
It worked really hard again, as he usually does. My only worry is that what he offers in terms of his set pieces is going to be missing now. So that's a little angle we might not be able to exploit. But Yarmolenko's on, he's always got that bit of chaos about him, a little bit of magic every now and then. If Arsenal haven't learned not to keep him on his right foot, then we've got a chance here.
We've seen Yarmolenko do it, haven't we? Of course, he's come in with some fantastic cameos in recent weeks. None more notable, of course, than the goal against Chelsea, I guess, when he scored in the 90th minute to give us the 3 points that eventually was responsible for keeping us in the Premier League last season. So let's hope he can repeat it once again. Not sure whether he's a player who's capable of giving us a full 90 minutes of committed action these days, but certainly one who's good enough to, come in and make a difference at the end. Bowen, Pinky, decent performance for him out there tonight?
Yeah, very, very good tonight again from Bowen. I think, to be fair to the manager again, he signed Bowen and he signed Soucek. So this time around, where he's been allowed to spend some money, he spent it very, very wisely indeed. So yeah, happy with Bowen tonight. And again, very close there, West Ham. Again, it was Soucek nearly getting on the end of it.
Is that must be what, the fourth or fifth time Soucek's been in the mix there and just not been able to get on the end of it. So I think Rio, you said you felt perhaps that Soucek might grab something, but he's so close, isn't he? He's always in the mix.
Yeah, I just think his aerial threat against this back four, he's always got a chance. They're very fragile in the air. There's a lovely ball by Yarmolenko to swing the play out to the left-hand side, just in that build-up. I still don't know which way to call this. I think there's a goal. I'd like to say, I think I'm more inclined 35% in favour of West Ham here. But, I still think Soucek's a man. Just get the ball into him. He's come so close. He's been a fraction away on 3 occasions now. We need to get that delivery into him.
We do. And he's been an absolute menace. And as someone who played at very, very amateur level for centre-half for a few years towards the end of my career, I remember thinking, if you come across someone who was big like that and threw themselves about, it was a real difficult, task. And it was always tough. And I get the feeling he's that sort of player and puts that sort of pressure on opposition defenders. Anyway, jumping quickly into the YouTube chat, Mark Cannon says, our history at the Emirates in recent... Hi, Mark, by the way.
We've been mugged. We've been absolutely mugged.
Pinky?
Yeah, it's 2-1 Arsenal. I mean, they've picked through us straight on Diop's channel as predicted, sent the ball across, and there's a tap-in the end.
Is he onside?
Looking at it now, I mean, it's a Diop. I bloody nailed him. Had to be in. 2-1 Arsenal.
5 minutes of normal time remaining. We thought West Ham, we were just talking about someone sneaking a win. No one was prepared to commit. I'm looking at the goal there, Pinky, and I'm asking myself, where's Ryan Fredericks?
Yeah, and to be honest, that's fair. And you touched on it, earlier. Is the centre back being made to look worse by the fullback outside him? And Fredericks absolutely missing in action there. But Diop, who was there, was asleep. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, he's sleeping on the job, and he should have done better there, notwithstanding the fact that Fredericks was clearly already in the showers or wherever he is. That's bitterly disappointing because we've been the better team tonight. We have been the better team. I think we've played the better game, and yet again, we go to the Emirates and we get mugged by a soft goal. Not happy at all.
I was just saying, just before the goal was scored, Mark Cannon had written that our history at the Emirates in recent years has been one of decent performances, could win this, then get done in the last 10 minutes. And I was just about to read it out. That's exactly what happened. So there is, of course, a few minutes left. We could still get it back. But Rio, we don't deserve to be behind here, do we?
No, absolutely not. We've more than matched them. As you said, when you think Lacazette's going off, that's a threat away. The bloke who comes on to replace him is the one to notch the winner. It's just again, it's a momentary lapse of concentration, and it's cost us immensely again. Now we played so well, we've lost so much, and we look like we're going to walk away with this with no points, as per usual. Declan just put a ball in deep there, aimed towards Soucek. It was slightly too deep, but time's ebbing away now.
Yeah, we're getting close. Only just over 2 minutes of normal time remaining. I just wonder if there's going to be criticism following for David Moyes for taking Bowen off now, because you would have expected Bowen to be back in defence there, helping. I know we saw Yarmolenko there, but he was a little bit off the pace, maybe because he's just come into the game. But I don't know. Do you see that happening, Pinky? You think everyone's going to get on Moyes' back again for making that change?
I would hope not. I mean, the manager's made a change to try and go on and win the game away from home. You know, if we're now going to start getting stuck into the manager for doing that,
Yeah.
well, you know, let's start the campaign to reappoint Sam Allardyce right now. You know, we've got to be honest. We're the supporters who say, let's go on and win it. The manager has tried to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't castigate him for that at all. I think
Well, no, neither would I. But I think people probably will, and I agree with you. I think it's unfair.
Yeah, yeah. We've had by far the better game plan tonight, and we've been terrific tonight. And it's just an individual error that's cost us again.
Yes, it is, and you know, we've really, I say we've only fallen asleep twice, and it's cost us. But you know, that's the difference between playing in the Premier League and playing in the Championship, isn't it? At the end of the day, you know, you simply cannot afford at the very, very highest level to make errors like that, Rio. And you know, Pinky's called it again. You know, it's Diop's side. I mean, you know, we've sort of said, is there mitigation there, perhaps by the fact that the fullback, you know, is often leaving him, you know, sort of worrying about what's alongside him. But regardless of the fact, you know, here we are, we're about to, looks like we're heading to another defeat, and we really haven't deserved it. Anderson's just about to come on, I think. Oh, just come on.
Yeah, Henderson's just about to come on, I think. Heller's on for Fornals. Yeah. I do think that we have issues at centre half, but as we've identified constantly over the last 6 or 7 months, that just on this particular outlet, that our fullbacks are by and large responsible for a lot of the goals that we concede, and they create panic amongst our centre halves. But we need to be more mentally switched on. At this level, you cannot afford to be that kind of not as active in the mind. You know, as you said, at this level, you're going to get punished. And against a team like Arsenal, they can't defend, but going forward, they scare people. And we're falling again. I think it's the 4th time in 5 years that we've gone to the Emirates, and as you say, we've been mugged.
Yeah.
I mean,
frustrating, isn't it? It's terribly
every single time.
Let's I'll tell you what we'll do, Rio. In just a few moments, let's dive back into the KUMB Forum, just see what people are saying about that goal, and if there has been any criticism levelled at the manager for taking Bowen off there. But we've just seen 4 additional minutes signalled by the 4th official. We're about one of those 4 in already. Anderson, as we said, is on, and just seen Anderson try to play a back heel, and he's actually tricked himself. But we kept possession anyway. But yeah, 3 minutes. Pinky, can we do this? Is there any chance now? Or is the game gone?
I mean, we could do it. I mean, obviously heads have dropped a little bit.
Yeah,
because,
you can see that.
You know, the players know. You know, they've worked their socks off all night, and you know, Arsenal don't deserve 3 points here tonight. That's for certain. But you know, football's it's a hard game. You know, there's a reason why they're getting 50, 60, 70, 80 grand a week.
Yeah,
it's because at the very top, they are brilliant footballers.
Yeah.
And you give them, you know, a slight chance, they'll take it. Now, Anderson do something, he pulls it back. Oh, again, you know, fair play. Haller was absolutely where he should have been. Anderson finds him with the ball, and the Arsenal lad got the challenge in the nick of time. And Haller's taken a bit of a clatter there.
Yeah, it's one of those nasty ones, isn't it, where player comes across you and takes the inside of your foot. To be fair, they're both, but he does look in a bit of trouble there at the moment. Yeah,
but again, you'd say, you know, Ceballos there, the desire to get there to actually stop the shot getting off from Haller.
Yeah,
you know, that's what you want to see if you're an Arsenal supporter. Fair play to our lads though. You know, the centre forward is where he should be, and the wide player picked him out. It just didn't quite come off for us.
Do let us know what you think of the game so far on the KUMB Forum and Yahoo. I've said it again. I mean, YouTube chat. I'm going to ask the guys for their man of the match nominations in just a moment. But before we do that, Rio, let's dive into the KUMB Forum match thread quickly and see what the how our members are responding to Arsenal's what looks like being their winning goal.
Yeah, rather predictably, like the mood has obviously dropped 100%.
And the
And there's
posts
a lot of
increased.
criticism regarding Yarmolenko coming on. The wrong decision. That's why Yarmolenko can't play on the wing for us. Don't take your chances. You'll often get punished. Also predictable. Heartbreaking. We're going to try to find the one that I picked out. It's down the bottom here. So you knew it. Better off taking Cress off, putting Messerich at left back, and put Heller up with Antonio. That's why Yarmolenko shouldn't be in the team or anywhere near defensive duties at all. I think that's rather harsh, but you can't deny that it came down from that particular avenue.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, time's pretty much up now. We're just waiting for the final whistle. We'll do our man in the match awards once we've had that. Sam Kochik, hi Sam, good to see you again. Says, has Moyes ever beaten a so-called big team on the road as a Premier League manager? If I'm not mistaken, he never has. If true, that's a horrific record, bearing in mind the years spent in this league. I don't think his record is particularly good, is it, Sam, against the purported Big Four or Big Six? But, you know, I mean, I'm going to stick my neck out here tonight, and I think we've been very, very, very unlucky. And you know, we've played well, but again, this you know, this is the difference between doing particularly well and surviving and being relegated from the Premier League. It's taking your chances. We've had several chances. That's it. That's the final whistle gone. It has finished. Arsenal 2, West Ham United 1. West Ham have suffered back-to-back defeats to begin the Premier League 2020-21 campaign with, but we were very, very harshly done by tonight. I'm sure most Hammers fans watching this game will agree with that. And bearing in mind that a lot of us went into the game thinking we were going to get hammered. Declan Rice is absolutely distraught there. You can see he can't believe that we've lost that. We feel the same. We feel your pain, Declan, don't we? Let's have a quick post-match summary, first of all, from the team. Pinky, 2-1 to Arsenal. West Ham beaten again, but we shouldn't be too despondent, should we?
No, not at all. I mean, you're just looking at the pictures of the two managers there. Mikel Arteta on full time, you know, he's got a smile a mile wide because he absolutely knows they've mugged us here. He knows his team's got out of jail and that they've got 3 points when actually the most they deserved was 1. And you could argue that they didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Very good performance generally by West Ham United tonight. Work rate generally very good, you know, a good game plan, fairly well executed by the players, I'd suggest. And had we shown half as much commitment, tactical nous, application last week against Newcastle, we wouldn't be staring at back-to-back defeats. It's unfortunate, but them's the breaks. This is the Premier League, and if you do not take your chances, you'll end up losing. It's that simple. It's a hard school.
Rio, your thoughts?
Yeah, the performance compared to last week was incredibly vastly improved. We didn't deserve to lose. We played incredibly well. We just didn't take our chances when they dropped to us. And we paid a penalty. It's incredibly frustrating once again. Normally, I'd say because of the vast improvement in performance, next week we're going looking more confident, more likely to pick up some points here and there. But our next few games don't get any easier. In fact, they get incredibly more difficult as the weeks go on. Yeah, it's just frustration, you know. We deserved at least a point from that game, and frustration is the key word here. It's abysmal.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, next up we play Hull in the Carabao Cup, and then it's Wolves back in Stratford next weekend. We'll come to that in a minute. Actually, let's do man of the match first. Just see what you guys thought. I think we all agreed there were some really decent individual performances out there. Going through the team, Masuaku, I thought, did himself a lot of favours tonight with his performance. His crossing, I thought, was probably better than it has been ever. Actually, there's some very decent crosses that caused Arsenal problems. Again, one or two issues with, you know, the correct decision making. Pinky pointed this out against Charlton in midweek. But overall, I thought he did well. Ogbonna, I think, did a decent job at the heart of defence. Diop was doing all right until we saw the error. I mean, Fredericks, again, another player who had a reasonable game. Got the crosser, got the assist for the goal, but then, of course, went missing for the Arsenal's winning goal. Fornals, who was replaced, did a terrific job. Worked like a Trojan, and I think he does that every week, but did really well. Bowen worked again really, really hard for little reward. It just didn't fall for him today. Declan Rice, we felt he was perhaps culpable for the first goal, losing, Lacazette and not tracking him fully, but seemed to be a lot closer to his best this week than we saw against Newcastle last week. Pinky, I think, rightly pointed out that he looked off the pace and like he hadn't had a proper break as well. Antonio again took his chance and made himself look busy. Soucek, I thought, was terrific again, and 4 or 5 chances, really just didn't fall for him. A bit like Bowen in a way, it just didn't work out for him. So lots of decent individual performances there, I think, Pinky. But who would be, out of those, who would be your choice as man of the match?
Tonight, I'll go with Pablo Fornals.
Okay.
I think what we've seen from him tonight is a real shift in terms of work rate.
Yeah.
And I think when we got our goal, it was him, working the ball from the far left flank into the middle that then was passed on. I think Fornals was very, very good tonight, but there could have been 2 or 3 candidates. You've got to admire Michail Antonio for his willingness to go in where it hurts to get the goal. And Soucek, I think, has been a revelation with his performances since joining us. But tonight, I'll give it to Fornals.
Okay, good stuff. Rio, would you go along with that, or have you got someone else in mind?
No, I completely agree with that. I think free from the shackles of covering the fullbacks for 75% of the games.
Yeah,
he thrived in a central position. He's intelligent. He passed well. He was insightful. He worked his nuts off as well. You don't just get flair with Fornals. You get sheer work rate. And that is why he stands out for me. And I think given a longer run in that central position, he's going to thrive. We need to keep him now. And this is, I think, part of the death knell for Mark Noble's career here, because we need more insightfulness. We need more attacking impetus. We need that kind of intelligence in the ball, and eking out kind of intelligent and thoughtful passes rather than just sheer work rate and slowness and blood and thunder, which sadly in this kind of thing now, Mark Noble relies too much on the emotion and the thunderous side of his game rather than the insightfulness. I'm inclined to agree. I think Mark Noble might be a pretty worried man looking at that team tonight and sort of thinking, wondering how he'd get back into it. I also agree that Fornals had a fabulous night tonight. I thought it was great, but I'm going to go. I'm kind of stuck a little bit. I think Soucek was terrific and so unlucky. We saw him 4 or 5 times get close to scoring, just didn't quite get on the end of it. I also thought Masuaku had a really good game tonight. We saw one hashed clearance, didn't we, towards the end, where he kind of it was like me playing golf, where he went to clear the ball and it just flew off for a corner, completely hooked it out of play. But I thought he was excellent tonight. I thought he made himself busy, got some really decent crosses in, and looked a threat going forward. And Pinky, you made the point about David Moyes not having an awful lot to choose from, and I think if you've got to utilise what you've got to the best of your abilities, and I think we're all pretty much agreed that Masuaku isn't a defender. We can't use him there. So in that role, I think, he looked sharp the other night. I know, again, we keep, with the caveat that it was only Charlton, but he looked sharp. I think he looked good again today. But also Antonio, to his credit, scored the goal, made himself really busy, put himself about. Let's not forget he was inches away from getting another one with a header that cannoned off the crossbar, had the keeper beaten. And I think had he scored, had that been a few inches lower and we either win the game 2-1 or draw 2-2, then I think he's the standout candidate for man of the match. So I'm gonna go for Masuaku tonight because I think he's had an awful lot of critics. We know what Soucek can do. He's a great player. We know Antonio can score goals and always puts himself back. So I think I'm just going to go with Masuaku just about. Let's have a dive into the forum again and just see what's going on there. I'll have a quick look at
the chat on our YouTube channel to see what's being added there. Mandy, hi Mandy, good to see you on the stream. Says it's taken 3 years to play Masuaku in his best position. Well, I guess the point is, hopefully we're there now, and we'll see him there a little bit more often. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Kieran, hi Kieran, good to see you on the stream. 2 games on the trot, we should have got something. I presume you mean at the Emirates rather than against Newcastle last week. But absolutely, we were robbed last year, weren't we, with that very, very late goal. So yeah, couldn't agree. And I think Rio, you made the point about 4 games in the last 5 at the Emirates, wasn't it? You said that we've been quite unlucky. So yeah, absolutely. Neil from Down Under, so near yet so far. Neil, we feel your pain, my friend. And you stayed up, of course. You've got up. It's 5 a.m. It must be a little bit later now, but I suppose you'll be off to work or doing something useful now. Unlike us lot who are going to be going to bed very, very shortly. Hobo says played well, much better in fact, but got nothing again. Disappointment. It's what we do. And Mandy once again says, Hilaire should have come on earlier. We could have taken Creswell off, put Masuaku left back for 15 minutes and pushed Hilaire on. It's all ifs and buts now, isn't it? It's a tough one. We all felt that we had a really strong team out there, didn't we, up until about 80 minutes. And then you kind of feel that, it's forced upon the manager to make a change at that point. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out tonight. But let us know what you think about the overall performance. Is there some vindication for Moyes in terms of how the way he set his team out? There was an awful lot of criticism before the game for him putting, that particular side out, saying that it was too negative, playing for a goalless draw, typical Moyes, Allardyce-esque, all that sort of stuff. But we've lost. We've gone down. But I think we can all agree that it was a fantastic. Well, not a fantastic performance because we lost, but a solid performance, and one in which, and let's not forget, of course, in the first half, we really had a good shout for 2 penalties. We could have had both of them on another day. We could have been out of sight by half time, really, if those. So let us know what you think. Anyway, Rio, jumping into the KUMB Forum match thread, what else is being said in there right now?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity going around, and Moyes and Yarmolenko are copying a lot of it.
Okay.
Italian Hammers put, that is on Moyes. For all the good work the players did, Arsenal were there for the taking. So why no bleep subs until the 80th minute? Pathetic and also predictable. Going back further down list, I picked out a couple. Brother Nero. Sub changes games. Subs win games. Moyes has no idea how to or when to use them. Better performance it may be, but this was a defeat is once again rests firmly on his shoulders. Johnny Burns Boots. How much impetus do we lose due to attacks, due to Moyes' insistence on playing wingers the wrong way? This takes time to check inside on their right foot, regain control and set for cross, a shot that gives defenders much more time. By all means, mix it up, but to persist with this for the entire match, unbelievable. Game was there for the taking, yet we bring on Hannah with almost a game over. Trying to keep a goal difference down is what I do. I don't suppose Waldorf and Statter are going to spend money for our next match. Yeah, this Moyes is copping it. Yarmolenko's copped it. It's amazing how much the mood changes and the kind of atmosphere on the forum changes in the space of 3-4 minutes. One lapse in concentration, we've gone from incredibly quiet, nothing to moan about, into virtual Armageddon. There's a lot of posts coming through as we speak now.
Okay, well, perhaps we'll jump back in just a minute.
We'll come back to it again later if you want.
Yeah, let's have a look shortly and see what's going on. But you're totally right. I mean, for 85 minutes, Rio, everyone was really happy and, confident and thinking, ready to be praising Moyes. And then all of a sudden, one slight error, one misjudgment from Diop or Fredericks or whoever. And now Moyes is like the devil incarnate. But Pinky, I just want to ask you what you thought about that. I'm kind of reminded while you're sitting there, my friend, of a post made by David's Cross on the forum midweek. And for those who didn't read it, let me just read this because I thought this was fantastic. And your demeanour there right now sums it up for me. David's Cross was writing a message about the Eyes Up Mother Brown stream and sort of giving his critical comment. And he wrote this about Pinky. He said, if I could use an analogy, Pinky seems to play the part of ex-West Ham United international Francois van der Elst, in as much as he looks totally disinterested, looking into the distance and holding a slightly pained look when the ball isn't near him, but suddenly ignites into life with moments of genius when the ball is in the last third and at his feet. And that's how I see you now. And we're just about to see a touch of that genius. Pinky, how do you respond to those comments from the match thread?
Wow. Well, firstly, Frankie van der Elst, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, David's Cross, you are my hero. But I think the comments on the manager that are coming through on the forum are very, very harsh indeed, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we all know it's a hard school, but he set the team up, I think, well tonight. His game plan was working. No doubt about it. He made a substitution to try and win the game. You know, this is West Ham United supporters now saying, oh, let's cling on for a point. Seriously? We went through all the grief about we play on the floor when Sam Allardyce was the manager, and let's get a manager in that'll see us try and win games.
Yeah.
And now, because we're 10 minutes away from a point at the Emirates, it's suddenly the manager's got it wrong because he puts on an attacking substitution. Not for my money. I think he's made the right call there, and 2 errors tonight have cost us badly.
Individual.
Individual errors. One was, Lacazette not being tracked properly, and the other one was somewhere between the missing in action Fredericks and the half asleep Mr. Diop. We've gifted them another goal. You can't pin those on David Moyes or his system or his substitutions. 2 individual errors, and at least in one of those areas, the manager has clearly identified he needs an upgrade, and he's trying to get the chairman to buy him a player that isn't going to fall asleep at the crucial moment. So,
very good point.
No, not for me. Not David Moyes tonight. I think he's done pretty much everything right. And Mikel Arteta there tonight, he knows, he absolutely knows they've mugged us. Yeah, Arteta is going to go home tonight laughing his head off because his team have been beaten tonight in everything other than the final scoreline, and he's actually got away with it. He's got out of jail, and tonight I think Moyes has got it right. The big concern I've got is the paucity of options.
Yeah.
And when he turns to the bench, and you say, great, we're going to bring on the club record signing, Sebastian Haller. Yeah. And the fact that he isn't starting isn't down to the manager picking the wrong player. It's the fact that the player who we've paid top dollar for isn't good enough to force his way into a team where we're playing another player as a striker. We're trying to, get a striker's performance out of a player who isn't a striker, because the club record signing isn't good enough to start. And that's not David Moyes' fault. Pellegrini signed Haller. Pellegrini signed Anderson. The chairman authorised the expenditure, and the chairman needs to say, do you know what? Moyes has called it right in Soucek. He's called it right in Bowen. He's got the players motivated, organised. He's doing his job, and he needs support in the transfer window. And it is not David Moyes' fault that Manuel Pellegrini blew the dough. That's not Moyes' fault. Find the money, Mr. Chairman, for the manager to sign a centre-back and a full-back. And I think if we could do that, we've got a half a chance this season. If we don't do that, and let me just put the really scary thing in here, let's say Soucek gets a serious injury, God forbid. Who's coming in for him? Where's the depth?
Yeah.
And so whilst we've done really well tonight, the manager needs some help because he needs to sign some players. And over to you, Mr. Chairman, as far as I'm concerned.
It's like a broken record, or we're like a broken record, aren't we, Pink? It's the same old story. I mean, we know what the problem is, but where's the solution? We were told that we didn't have any money. They sold Grady Diangana. We've still not spent any money, have we? Crazy.
No, and you know, at the end of the day, the history of the Premier League tells you you could spend £1 billion in one season,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that the following season you can't spend anything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to strengthen every single season,
Yeah.
because every other club does. You know, let's not muck around about this. It's a tough competitive league for a reason.
Yeah.
That's why Sky TV hand the clubs, you know, well over £100 million a year just for being in the Premier League.
Yeah.
The idea is you spend it on some players. What you don't do is spend it on paying interest payments to the club's shareholders. You know, the £20 million near as damn it that they've taken out the club. Well, there you go. If Burnley want £50 million for their player, and we've got 31 million on the table, you add that to the 18.7 million in interest payments, there's your 50 million quid, Mr. Chairman. So why not put that interest payment back into the club and then buy a footballer?
Yes.
Simple.
You know, I've got nothing to add to that because, you know, obviously we're in complete agreement with regards to those payments. Just diving into social media, actually looking at Twitter briefly, just to see if, you know, there's anything different being said. And again, it's the same thing. Lots of criticism for poor Davy Moyes. A guy called Robert Chadwick who says West Ham with the performance right out of the David Moyes handbook. Well drilled, bright start, put crosses into the box, concede, draw level, create enough chances to win the game, let the game drift, concede a late goal, panic, throw extra attackers on when it's too late. A little bit harsh. Interesting, there's an Arsenal guy here who says, I'm feeling so strange that we won this game. Arteta has to solve this problem as soon as possible because even the chosen one, I'm not quite sure what that means, David Moyes could almost find a way to beat us. So, you know, perhaps where the West Ham supporters are a little bit more critical than the Arsenal fans, who it's looking by what I'm seeing here, they seem to understand that they've been quite lucky to take all 3 points tonight. Actually, most of the comments that I'm seeing when searching for David Moyes seem to relate to comments made by Patrice Evra on Sky Sports earlier regarding and something to do with David's daughter and Wilfried Zaha. We won't go any further into that, but if you've seen it, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If not, then look it up. It was reasonably amusing, I suppose. Marley Bronson also on Twitter says, David Moyes has proven to us that no matter how a game goes, he doesn't make the appropriate substitutions to take the advantage. How many times now have we been drawing, made no subs, concede, then make panic subs in the last 10 minutes? It's all rather depressing, Rio, isn't it? I mean, it's like 10 minutes before the end of the game, we were kind of sitting there thinking, you know, we might possibly nick this and take all 3 points. And yet here we are, back to square one. And everyone was criticising Davy Moyes before the game started. And, you know, we sort of laid off him. It all went very quiet, didn't it, on the match thread and elsewhere for about 75 minutes. And now here we are again, and everyone's ripping into David Moyes. Is he being completely hard done by here?
I think there's a lot of harsh criticism coming in.
Yeah.
And as we said, it's amazing what one lapse of concentration can do.
Yeah.
There are some rather balanced comments coming through now.
Okay.
I think it's not a knee-jerk reactionism as you expect.
Yeah, immediately after the final whistle, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to find it. Diogenes put, I thought we played very well and very unfortunate to lose that. Right team selection and formation, an attitude from the players. Arsenal have quality and a very good side. And yet I thought we were the better side tonight. Small margins and all that. Arsenal will count themselves lucky. Puff Daddy coming in with a comment saying poor game management from Moyes. And Peaches, who's one of the most astute posters in our forum, I believe.
Yeah.
has put, I think this is ridiculously harsh. Moyes is constantly criticised when he doesn't try to win. He brings on Yarmolenko to try for the win and is crucified. I thought we set up very well, played brilliantly, and not one person tonight thought we could have performed as well as we did. The 2 goals came down to Rice not tracking Lacazette and Yarmolenko not tracking his man Ceballos. We deserve to win, and that's down to Moyes. For all the criticism Cresswell and Masuaku get, they both played very well today. I thought we played well as a team and some great individual performances. I thought Fornals was excellent. For anyone to ask anything more from a performance is unfair. For the collection of players we have, that's the best performance, if not result, we could have asked for. And I think that's pretty much a fair evaluation of the situation at the moment.
We have got David Moyes on the box at the moment. Pinky, I don't know if I think Pinky's keeping an eye on what he's saying. So we'll come back to Pinky in just a minute, Rio, for a brief summary of what the manager is saying. But he looks absolutely gutted, quite frankly, at having lost that one. And I suppose it's nice to see, isn't it? Some people sort of coming round a little bit and, being a bit more sort of circumspect about it. And, I think you rightly pointed out that you do get at the final whistle an awful lot of knee-jerk reaction. As we said, we could have won that game with 10 minutes to go, and we've ended up losing it. And people are very cheesed off as a result. I guess you can understand that. But, let's hope we see a few more reasonable comments in the next half hour or so. We'll stay on for a little bit and just see what's happening there. Pinky, we've just seen David Moyes chat on the TV. What was the what sort of things was he saying? As I said, he looked really, really cheesed off there.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Sky presenter, who I think is Jeff Shreves, was almost trying to feed the lines of the team was well organised. They followed the game plan. They worked incredibly hard.
Yeah,
it was almost like Moyes writing his own reference.
Yeah.
And Moyes has basically said, yeah, well, we do that every week, which I'm not sure is right. But his main bone of contention was on the handball incident in the 33rd minute.
Okay.
So he's saying, look, never mind the current interpretation of the handball law. Under the old interpretation of the handball law, that's handball. And he said we should definitely have had a penalty. No two ways about it. And he's pretty aggrieved about it. And what we've just seen there is a manager who he knows that his team's done well tonight.
Yeah.
And yet he's going to open the papers tomorrow and West Ham United are going to be bottom of the league. And we all say, in the old days, you wouldn't look at the league table to mid-October or whatever it may be. But David Moyes is looking at the upcoming fixtures, same as we are, and is going, tonight, we deserved something. We deserved something there tonight. And I'm not buying all this stuff about he's got his subs wrong or he's done this wrong, he's done that wrong.
Yeah.
That was a thoroughly good, professional, organised football team tonight that's been undone by two individual errors and potentially a bad VAR or non-VAR decision. We were robbed. It's that simple. The Gunners have done us at the death yet again. Very, very harsh on us. Very harsh.
Some more comments coming in via the team following on YouTube, the live stream. Trodge comes in and says, I thought Antonio was superb and was even holding the ball up better. Seems to be improving up front. Hobo says he agrees with Pinky completely. Moyes got the system bob on. Some of the players aren't quite as good as we need in this league, and Pellegrini blew all the money. Mike Larkin says, Haller would have scored that. Teams have worked out Antonio up front. He gives the ball away too much, yet scored again today. Sam Kochik also says, spot on Pinky. And with your comments just a few moments ago, Trodge says, Antonio was dominating holding. Bonnie Hammer, the manager is too conservative. He will never roll the dice to win a game. I'm not sure we're in complete agreement with that one, buddy, because we felt that, bringing on Yarmolenko wasn't, you couldn't describe that as a defensive substitution, I think. So not sure about that one, but, welcome to your opinion, of course. And it takes all sorts of opinions. Kieran says to stand still is to go backwards. And Trodge also says the only subs I have faith we could have brought on is Yarmolenko and Snodgrass. Bimbrook Futsal Club. How about that handball? Well, gosh, if you'd have been with us at half-time, BFC, you would have heard us rant basically about the fact that that wasn't given. It seemed absolutely nailed on. We don't know what they're saying in the Sky studio, but David Moyes was quite bitterly disappointed. I think it's fair to say from what Pinky was saying there about that not being given. Mike Larkin says Fredericks deserves a shout out. I'm presuming this is for man of the match. He says he's improved immeasurably. One of our best players again today. I think as I said, he did okay. He got the cross. He got the assist for the goal. I'm just wondering if there was any issue with him being out of position for the winning goal, and perhaps sort of leaving Diop with too much space to cover on that right hand side. And we'll have to look at that one again anyway. But just a quick look at the match stats before we go on. Final match stats: Arsenal 63% possession to West Ham's 37. And this is so telling. Shots: Arsenal 7, West Ham. Anyone want to have a guess? Pinky?
11.
Rio?
14.
14. That's it. Arsenal 7 shots, West Ham 14, which tells, that says more about the entire game than the last few minutes when Moyes was criticised for making certain substitutions. Shots on target, 3 each. Corners 7 to Arsenal, 5 to West Ham. Fouls: Arsenal conceded 11 and West Ham 13. So, to take away the possession, there's nothing in those stats. In fact, you could argue, as Pinky, I think, has done quite successfully, that West Ham deserved to win. And I think, I'd certainly go along with that. We definitely had the chances, but yet again, we leave the Emirates, Rio, with nothing to show, nothing at all to show for our efforts. Frustrating, isn't it? This is the word of the night, I think, isn't it? It's just everything's frustrating tonight.
Yeah, it's one of them places that I hate leaving due to their, how can I put it? Due to the, I'm trying to put it politely, their support winds me up like no one else does. I hate Tottenham, I hate Millwall. Arsenal fans just really, really wind me up. It's like something that really triggers something in me. And for 4 years out of 5, we've left there having not only matched them, but performed at the times.
Yeah.
And we come away with absolutely sod all. It's incredibly disappointing. I'll try and compose myself because these not grind my gears massively. It's as time goes on, Arsenal are getting worse and worse. Last year, we outperformed them both games. At home, we caved in for the last 25 minutes, and the worst Arsenal side in living memory walked away with an unjust 3-1 win. Mm-hmm. In the away game, we more than matched them for, I think, 70 minutes. They got a spawny 2-0 win. Today, they've got a striker who's getting 400 grand a week. They've got a supporting striker who costs 50 million quid. They picked up a third attacker from Chelsea who would get into, say, 80% of the Premier League sides now. He's incredibly talented. And yet we haven't lost because 3 major attacking forces have got the better of us. We come away with defeat because we've switched off on 2 occasions. It's just incredibly gutting, No one gave us a chance before this game kicked off. And to be honest, I couldn't disagree with that. I mean, I was one of those, Last week, we looked at a shocking side. We played well for a maximum of 15 minutes. Today, we've more than matched one of the best sides on paper in the league. And we've been mugged again, And it hurts, We've had no investment. We're relying on the core select of 13 or 14 players because the manager clearly doesn't trust the rest of his squad. And yet, for all the money thrown at Arsenal, we're here. We was a better side today.
Yeah,
it's just as we've said, 2 tiny little moments have cost us. We set up well. We defended well. We threatened throughout the game. It's just 2 moments of not being at the races when you have to be at this level. Mm-hmm. It's cost us. And I don't know. I'm gutted again. Yeah. I mean, last week I was quite gutted because we were ranked and we didn't look like we didn't deserve anything. Today it was complete opposite. I'm walking away gutted because we've deserved everything in that game and not come away with it.
Yeah. I think also if before the game someone had said to you, Arsenal are only going to create 3 shots on target throughout the game, you're probably going to be even more disappointed afterwards to lose that 2-1, right?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have thought Aubameyang would have had that on his own in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Utterly
Gutting.
and utterly frustrating. Very, and the word that keeps coming up over and over again is mugged, and we have been mugged there tonight. I don't think there's any doubt about that. David Moyes, after the match, speaking in his press conference, has just said, "We can't accept losing, and I won't accept that from the players tonight. We turned off in the last minutes, and some of the boys had done an unbelievable job to get us into that position in play as well. For us to turn off in the last 3 or 4 minutes was criminal." So interesting that, Pinky, to hear Moyes be quite scathing of his players then. You surprised by that at all?
Well, there's 2 aspects to his comments there. One is some of the players had done an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
But equally, 1 or 2 others had done, I can't believe it jobs. Yeah. And, what we've got is, let's take Declan to start with. I said it last week in the Newcastle game, he wasn't fit. 2 games for England, not a pre-season, and it showed last week.
Yeah. This
week, he's getting around the pitch better, but he's not mentally sharp. That's why he switched off, and the Arsenal lad got the space to head the goal. We know Declan's a fabulous footballer, and 2 or 3 more games, he'll be right up where he needs to be. Mm-hmm. But for me, the bigger issues are the structural issues in the side. And we've got 3 or 4 players who are incredibly dangerous in the final third of the field. The problem is the final third at both ends. Yeah. And it's all well and good, Masuaku looking good in the attacking sense, but he's only playing there because we can't trust him as a fullback.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fabulous to see Fredericks chucking in a wonderful cross or 2 tonight in the opposition's half, but then he's missing in action at a crucial moment. And between him and Issa Diop, it's Laurel and Hardy. Andrea Yarmolenko, again, he can be a match winner at one end, but what? Jog back to our own half to actually do some defending. Me? Yeah. And therefore, the manager wants him for the good stuff he can do, but he'll be aware of the stuff he doesn't do as well. And it keeps pointing to the same thing. We've probably got 7 players who will regularly give you, more often than not, 7 out of 10 performances. But we've also got 3 or 4 that are regularly giving us 4.5/5 out of 10 performances. And that's not really cheap to fix, but everyone can see it. Every single team we play against targets our right back. Yeah, our right back of the week. Yeah, and it's a bit like the tale that was doing the rounds of Joe Hart's goalkeeping, low and hard to his left, and you're going to get a goal. Yeah. Now you just imagine every Premier League opponent is texting every other manager going, target West Ham's right flank. Yeah, because you know what, they're weak there.
Well, hang on, the Pinky. I mean, we said it was Premier League teams, but even Charlton did it, didn't they? Midweek. This is how obvious it is.
Of course, because not being funny, every single club in the world has got an army of video analysts who are preparing dossiers for their managers, saying, right, Club X, who we're playing next week, this is where they concede X% of their goals. These are the players that you've got to get at, and Marcelo Bielsa last year or the year before, when Frank Lampard was crying because they'd been spied on in training, and Bielsa gave a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation to the press corps saying, no, we analyze every opponent to death. match by match, in real granular detail, well, guess what? Everyone does it. So if you've got a weakness in your team, you're not hiding it from the opposition. They know, the players at Arsenal are quite likely to get video clips sent to their mobile phones that have been spliced together by their coaching team, showing their opponents the following week, just to point out this is what you've got to do to get the better of your opponent. Either force the ball onto his wrong foot, or cut inside, whatever it may be. They will be sent the clips to their mobile phones. Why? Because players spend all day, like the rest of us, on their mobile phones. And it's every slight edge that any club can get to get the players into their heads. This is who you're playing next week. This is what you need to do. And weaknesses get exposed. There is nowhere to hide in this league. And I'm afraid the manager knows where he's got to upgrade, but he's not the one with the money.
Yeah.
And the manager, I think, is giving every signal. I'd sell Felipe Anderson. I'd sell Haller, because he's not picking them. He's saying to the chairman, if you want to raise some funds, Mr. Chairman, here's 3 or 4 players right there you can go and sell.
Yeah.
But we then need to spend the money in the parts of the team that we need to spend it. And I'm afraid, because we overpaid when we bought some of those players and their value has plummeted like a stone, we can't raise the money, we can't shift the players. And I feel for David Moyes, because he must be there going, as a professional football manager, he's going, why always me?
Yeah.
David Moyes should have actually unbuttoned his shirt tonight and had a why always me Mario Balotelli t-shirt, kind of thing. He's done his job tonight. A couple of the players haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the structural faults in the squad that simply have got to be addressed, because it's a fine line. That's not a great Arsenal team tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a terrific front line, but their back line, it's not exactly, Adams, Keown, Dixon, or whatever their half decent back four used to be. You can get at them. Moyes' plan was good tonight. We nearly pulled it off, but like my dreams and all, maybe we should have a song at it.
Thank you, Pinky. That's a really decent assessment, I think, of everything we've really seen tonight. Let's look forward to next weekend. We'll skip over the Carabao Cup match for now. We do, of course, face Hull City, so a chance for Jarrod Bowen potentially to go up against some of his former teammates there. Although I'd be very surprised if he does play in that one, given that he ran his lungs out tonight for 80 minutes. But next weekend, Brio, we're back to Stratford, and it's Wolves that are provide our next opponents. What do you think about that one? I mean, I think there was a lot of positives to be taken out of tonight. I mean, okay, we've lost the game, as we said, so that's the biggest negative. We've scored our first goal. We should have had a penalty. There's no doubt about it. We should have had at least one. There's still some question marks over Arsenal's first goal. But what positives do you take from tonight? What really stands out for you that you think could... We need a win desperately, and we've got some. Just who have we got after Wolves? I mean, we had Man City and Liverpool coming up, don't we? But after Wolves, we go to Leicester. I can't. Actually, I think the last time we won at Leicester was a night Noma and I drove up there in fierce driving rain, and we were in the Championship possibly 9 or 10 years ago. I don't remember us winning too many times up there since then, but. That's a tough game. Then, of course, we go to Tottenham, and then it's Man City and Liverpool. But so we really need to get something out of this game. Otherwise, we could be adrift. We've said it all along. We know what a difficult scenario it is and situation for West Ham. But what do you take from tonight to go into next week, and we think we can actually build upon?
I think what we got to look at. I mean, we matched Arsenal and were better than Arsenal for a large proportion of that game. If we're going to line up with the same kind of personnel, we defended well as a unit for large parts. As I said, it's only 2 lapses of concentration that cost us. We wasn't shipping chances galore.
Yeah.
We comfortably dealt with a very potent attacking lineup for most of the game.
Yeah.
I think Fornals switching into the centre position allows him to express himself a bit more, alleviates him a lot of the work rate that he has to do covering our fullbacks normally. Again, we saw Soucek being a major threat in the air. He's an absolute nuisance in the middle there.
Yeah.
He offers so much. There's a lot to take away from tonight.
Yeah.
Positive. It was a 360-degree turnaround from the performance last week for me. You know,
Yeah.
Last week I can't think of anything that we did right consecutively for more than 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Tonight we not only looked solid, but we looked threatening.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can kind of take on what we did today and enforce that against a Wolves side who, yes, they're incredibly good. We were susceptible to them in the first game in the restart because we looked ring rusty.
Yeah.
We were susceptible for the pace of Traore down the flanks, and that cost us. So we've got to learn from that. Hopefully, if we do continue with the left-sided combination of Cresswell and Masuaku, that will counteract Traore.
So would you
Also,
do that?
They've lost the key players. I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I think the way that we set up today, we go into next week because there's a lot of positives to take.
So
Wolves have also lost a really key player.
yeah, of course. That's a big loss for them. We did touch on it earlier in the stream, but that was while the game was still going on. The Mark Noble conundrum. If he's fit next weekend, does he play? But are you saying that he can only make the bench for you? I mean, you've answered that anyway, really, haven't you? Because you said you keep the same team. But
why would you want to put him back in?
Yeah.
What would he have offered today that anyone else didn't? Fornals has come into the central position and has excelled. I don't see where Mark fits in at the moment. I really don't.
Okay.
He doesn't add anything in attacking impetus. What we saw at the end of last season when he played the Norwich away game, and he thrived in playing a much more forward role.
Yes,
he always kind of drifts back. Though. I mean, I think next game, he played 30, 40 yards deeper than he should have been. And habits die hard, don't they?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, I just don't see where Mark fits in at the moment.
If given a choice, Rio, I mean, so you're looking for someone to put on the bench. You can't put them both on there. Josh Cullen was exceptional. We thought generally on Tuesday against Charlton. Would you perhaps put Josh ahead of Mark now if you're looking for that, that central defensive midfielder position on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Mark doesn't start, he doesn't get in the side. Doesn't get on the bench even for me. Because when you're looking to change a game, you're normally looking for a more kind of attacking impetus, a bit of pace to inject, something to make the opposition really think about things. You're very rarely looking for a 33, 34-year-old midfielder to come on and shore things up.
Yeah.
I just don't see at the moment, unless injuries take their toll, that Mark Noble fits into our side at the moment, or even our squad.
Okay, good stuff. So Rio obviously fairly happy with what he's seen tonight, and I agree entirely. I think with what you said. Why change it? We seem to be going in the right direction. Pinky, this is an interesting question that's come up on the YouTube live chat. Mike Larkin, quite a simple one. He asks us this: do you lads think we would have won that match with Tarkowski in the centre instead of Diop?
Yes.
There's your answer, Mike. Would you like to elucidate, Pinky, on that? Why?
Yeah. I mean, I just think he's a more experienced player with better decision making, and particularly if you're going to play the system that the manager played tonight, if you're going to have those three lads there, they've got to make the right decisions at the right time. So for me, absolutely, we'd have won that. So would we have won? We wouldn't have lost. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's clarify. We wouldn't have lost
Sure.
tonight. But equally, if Declan Rice had a proper pre-season, we wouldn't have lost tonight. And he's our best player. And it just shows the importance of doing transfer business early, getting your squad together early, having them all on the same page at the same time. One of the pundits today made the point about Manchester United against Crystal Palace. The fact that Palace have had a game already this season and Manchester United didn't have, ultimately gave them an edge today. Yes. Because almost like they're a week ahead in the pre-season kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that if there's one criticism I'd make of our preparation for this season, I think we might have been a bit soft on Declan in terms of allowing him to do certain things that others aren't, because he's still not match fit. Right. And what we saw with the rest of the players tonight is, compared with, say, Newcastle last week, generally mentally they're sharper and therefore we look better. To touch on the Mark Noble conundrum as you labelled it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that one?
I commented during the game about how at the transition phase we were considerably better. And there's no doubt about it. We saw it with Fornals tonight. Very often he was the player that was dragging the team out from the back, and he was our most advanced midfielder by some distance. And it's just the freshness in terms of legs. I'm a huge Noble fan, but I'm afraid now, all good things come to an end. And for me, he's now the player that starts on the bench, and he plays the occasional game, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, has a bit of a run out, mainly to give other players a rest. And I don't think Mark would be opposed to that at all if he was watching a West Ham United team that was winning every week. He's a West Ham fan, and I think he'd quite happily sit there and say, do you know what? We're 2-0 up or 3-0 up. And then he comes on for 20 minutes to wave at the crowd or whatever. He's going to be okay with that because his team are winning.
Yeah, sure.
Does he have the legs in him for a tough old season? I'm not so sure anymore. And personally, I'd hate to see him put through the ringer of that when the manager, I think, in that part of the field has got a better option currently. So for me, I want a centre back in for absolute certain, and I'd like 2 fullbacks, really. And if we could get that, we've got a team or a squad then that I think is a mid-table-ish squad. But all the while, we've got the problem in particular at right back. We're going to concede goals, and we haven't got quite enough firepower to compensate for that. And the chairman's got to find the money. I mean, I don't care what he's got to do. Sell his car, mortgage his house. I just don't care. Yeah, but that's the job. You're a football club chairman. Your job is to provide the funds to the manager. That's your job. Do your job, David Sullivan. Do your job.
Yeah, we it's interesting actually, because all the focus, I think, Pinky, in the last few days has been more on the left-hand side, isn't it? A lot of people have said Cresswell's had it. He's too old. His legs have gone. He's not the player he was 3 or 4 years ago yet. the left side wasn't our problem tonight, was it? Everything again and again. We said about it a little bit earlier. Everybody is targeting our right side. They're not necessarily going for the left-hand side. So, are we perhaps looking in the wrong places? I mean, I tend to agree with you. I think we need support on both sides. I think that none of us really rate Masuaku as a defender, do we? And Cresswell, everyone's got concerns about him there. But Ben Johnson, yes, would be great to see him come through. He's an academy player. He's a West Ham boy. It would be wonderful to see him come through. But I sort of harbour concerns that he's not quite ready yet, or whether or not he'll ever be ready. Fredericks, defensively, he's just effectively like a mirror version of Masuaku, isn't he? Going forward, he's got bundles of pace. He can put in a decent cross occasionally, as we saw tonight. He got himself an assist, but defensively, there's huge question marks over what he can do.
Mike, they're asking the question about would we have won had Tarkowski played, been in our team. Let me just chuck another name in there. Would we have lost tonight if Jeremy Ngakia had played? Because quite frankly, last time we played Arsenal at the Emirates, he did play. And he acquitted himself pretty well that day. So for my money, again, how penny wise but pound foolish do we look as a football club when we've let one of our younger players go again for what? Because we wouldn't give him a half decent contract. We then sell another of our younger players who scores a worldie for West Brom today.
Yes.
And you're looking at it and you're thinking, how skint is the club? How skint is the club that we're selling or letting go young players? These are not the lads that are earning the 125 grand a week.
Yeah,
they're not the ones that are draining the cash out of West Ham United. Yeah, but we seem to be letting them go and depriving the manager of some options purely because we just cannot get deals done where we can get some of the Pellegrini mistakes off the payroll. And, I mentioned earlier about Sebastian Haller, the club record signing.
Yeah.
And he's coming on in the 88th minute or something like that.
I think you're right what you said. I think it's quite clear that Moyes doesn't rate him because he's on the bench every week, and he has been for weeks and weeks. Felipe Anderson, Lanzini as well. These players cost Yarmolenko £18 million spent on him. So, the message is fairly clear, isn't it, from Moyes? You said it earlier, Pinky. These players are available. If anyone wants them, come out and get them. But whether it's a case, I don't know. What do you think it is? Do you think it's Rio? And I'll come to you in just a moment on this one. But very quickly, Pinky, do you think it's a question of because they cost so much, the club are asking so much or too much for them? Or do you think it's a case of, David Sullivan saying, look, we paid 35 million for this player. We need to see something from him. What's going on there? Why can't we sell them?
I think other clubs have just made their assessment on the players and have gone, Felipe Anderson, yeah, okay. How much do you want to pay for a player that is okay occasionally, but hardly scores, rarely gets in the opposition box, doesn't really beat a man that frequently? And you say, well, how much do you want to pay for that? And are there better options out there?
Yeah.
Same with Haller. He's coming to the Premier League, started very well.
Yeah.
And we've all got this theory that he needs somebody alongside him and all the rest of it. But but it's his lack of interest.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to keep banging on about this, but mate, you've got to go in where it hurts. Get ugly. You're going to go home after a game. You're going to have a couple of plasters on your forehead or on your nose. Your bones are going to ache because you've been getting clipped all afternoon. That's the job. Yeah, you can't be fanning around trying to avoid physical contact because you're scared it will hurt. You've got to get stuck in that position. And Antonio, who's not a natural centre forward, is actually showing Haller this is how you do the job in this league. Yeah. And that's always the hard bit. And I think we're struggling to shift these players because the money in the Premier League in terms of wages is enormous for the players. So if you want to try and sell these players back to, I don't know, Naples or Eintracht Frankfurt, wherever they all came from, well, you're Sebastian Haller, you're going, well, no, I quite like 110 grand a week or whatever it is he gets.
Sure.
And the Germans are saying, how about 40,000 euros a week? And he's going, what's in it for me? And this is the trap the club is in.
Yeah,
so
very much so.
Recruited poorly, and it's going to cost us for a couple of seasons. And it's a difficult one. But looking ahead to next week, Graham, would I change? Frankly, nothing, because the manager doesn't have the options. I think he's got his system right tonight.
Yep.
I think if we could get a better Masuaku in terms of decision making, that would help.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we could get a better defensive type player than Fredericks, that would help. And a commanding centre back. I keep coming back to it. And we bossed that game tonight. We were in not total control, but we were in good control of the game. We looked the better team. But the fact that we, I was making comments about where the weak link was going to come, and I only watch West Ham the same as everybody else. The opposition have got armies of coaches and video analysts, and they're just saying, just keep plugging away there and the chance will come. And I'm afraid David Moyes has got to get that message across to David Sullivan that, mate, I need some reinforcements, because if we don't get them, if you think it's difficult to sell the players now, wait till actually we've had a second bad season in a row, and you're still going to be sat there with Anderson, Haller, possibly Yarmolenko. I'm not sure what his contract things are. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know whether we can just, go to some of the clubs that we've bought these players from and said, we'll pay 80% of their wages, but you've got to give us some kind of a fee. We need desperately to raise some funds. We're desperate for the money.
We certainly are. And we're certainly desperate for reinforcements. We're also desperate to hear from Rio, because we haven't heard from you for a few minutes, buddy. We've seen you come and go and then come back in stereo with twice, and we're back down to one Rio again. But good to have you back, buddy. But is there anything you really want to add to what Pinky said? I was saying, I don't know if you were here or whether that was when you were off, but I was saying that a lot of people have kind of identified our left-hand side as being the issue, saying that Cresswell is not the player he was and that Masuaku can't defend. Yet we're not seeing teams target our left-hand side. It's our right. Every single team appears to be targeting that weak link, whether it's Johnson or whether it's Fredericks. Even to the extent that Charlton, Bowyer had his team. Their most efficient player, his name escapes me now, but the lad who played on the left wing had enormous joy, didn't he, on Tuesday? And they could have scored a couple of goals from there. So do you think perhaps, that the fans have got it wrong and that it's the right that needs addressing more than the left? Or is it, is it still both and, a centre-back as well? And again, what about the other areas? Are we happy? Are you happy with what we're providing up front at the moment and in midfield?
Going back to the fullbacks, I did catch what you said.
Okay.
And you said both areas needed attention. And I completely agree. I think teams attack our right side because they know there's a lack of discipline there. Our left side's weak because our Aaron's not the same player he was. I think his injury took a lot out of him. He's lost that little bit of pace that he had. And I think he's a little bit wary at times of going into challenges still. It's 2 years down the line since that awful injury. And as you rightly said, Arthur can't be trusted. So both areas need attention for different reasons. As for forwards, I think Antonio's doing a really admirable job. He's not a natural striker. He showed great instinct tonight. Towards the end of last season, his record spoke for himself. He got himself in the right areas. He managed to. His physical presence is enough to worry a lot of teams. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's not a long-term solution playing him there. We need to address that in the long term. I don't think. I actually like Haller, but he desperately needs someone to play alongside him. And I don't think the way that Moyes wants to play, we can afford that. So I think if we're going to continue with the one up front, Seb isn't the man, unfortunately. In terms of midfield, we've got a lot of attacking options. And as Pinky said, the manager obviously doesn't clearly trust them. The majority of them. We know Lanzini, again, injury-led, has been is a shadow of his former self.
Yeah.
Henderson last season, I've got no explanation as to why his form dropped off that severely. It fell off a cliff last season. We saw a glimpse of it on Tuesday night, but it wasn't enough to force himself into the manager's reckoning for tonight. We've got a lot of options, but not a lot of trust in the manager. And we're relying on the same core of 13, 14 players to kind of eke us through games at the moment. As Pinky said, we need reinforcements. We need reinforcements that our current manager wants and trusts. We ain't going to see him because allegedly the money's not there. So it's a long game that David Moyes has got to play in terms of getting the squad that he wants and trusts.
Yeah,
I just can't see him being afforded the money, the time, the opportunity to kind of build what he needs, what we need. And that's my big worry. That again, he's been put on a relatively short-term contract, and he's not going to see any kind of end product from his time here again.
Yeah.
He kept us up last time. If he managed to do it this time, I think it'd be nothing short of a miracle.
Rio, do you think if, as expected, we fail to get many points out of these next 5 or 6 games, do you think the board would pull the trigger and sack him to deflect away from their own deficiencies?
I don't, to be honest.
Okay.
I think that they can't afford to, because who the hell are they going to get in? It was a minor miracle that they actually got him in, considering the way they treated him the first time around. Well done, Mr. Moyes. You've kept us up. Thank you very much. We've got a bigger, shinier name on the horizon.
Yeah.
Out you go. It says a lot for our position. It says a lot for David Moyes that he actually agreed to come back and work for these people again.
Yeah.
I don't think they can actually afford to do it. Their name throughout football is going to be tarnished if they treat him as badly as they did the first time round within 6 months of doing what he's done with us,
I've just got this horrible feeling that
they've made a rod for their own back and they can't afford to do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, I've just got this horrible feeling that with Kevin Nolan now part of the backroom team, that they could say, thank you, Mr. Moyes, but we're going to move Kevin up the ranks a little bit and give him the job. I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I would also be very surprised to given the difficulty that we face over the next few weeks, the difficulty of the fixtures we've got, that anyone would be that savage to pull the trigger on a manager after a sequence of games like that. But you never know what you're going to get at West Ham, do you? This is the thing, I guess.
Absolutely.
We will have to wait and say, Pinky, just very quickly on that one, do you think they would be callous, I suppose, enough to get rid of Moyes if the heat was on them enough, come the end of October?
I'm not sure they will. I mean, callous. I mean, yeah, they'd be callous all day long, but I don't think it's the decision they would come to.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, even David Sullivan must know where the issue is now. He allowed himself to get completely mugged by Manuel Pellegrini, and was talked into signing players that we clearly overvalued. But we keep getting told there's lots of people get involved in these things, recruitment specialists or whatever it may be, the manager, the so-called director of football we had at the time, the chairman then has got to sign off on the checks and all of that malarkey. So there's a lot of fingerprints from some of those transfers.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll pull the trigger on Moyes. I really don't. But equally, I'm not convinced that they'll find the money to strengthen the squad either. And I'm hugely suspicious of, how can I put it? There's money for some managers, but not for others.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the fact that Moyes is not in the press every day, chucking out this name or that name. He's actually being a model employee for the chairman at the minute. He's not whinging. He's not griping. He is managing the resources at his disposal.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, that's why, the fact he didn't sign Haller, the fact he didn't sign Anderson, gives him the freedom not to pick them.
Yeah.
Pellegrini didn't have that freedom, because if you've done 40 million quid on a player and you leave him on the bench, you just know the chairman's calling you first thing Monday morning going, really? Yeah, you spent 40 million quid of my money, as the chairman would call it, and you're not even picking him. Yeah. And that's what, when you change a manager, sometimes it's to give the replacement the freedom to actually leave out players that the previous one probably wanted to, but he realised he'd made an error in signing them.
Yeah.
But daren't. Moyes, this time around, he's signed 2 absolute cast iron starters.
Absolutely.
Top drawer. From 2 different sources. One from Czechoslovakia and one from Hull. And so we've cast the net far and wide, and he's hit bullseye on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, if the chairman had half a brain, and maybe the concern is that's probably the problem, he does have half a brain, but he would be looking at Moyes and going, do you know what? I've given him 2 checks so far, and they've both come in as solid gold. Yeah. The chairman really should be trusting his manager. And if the manager says, I want the Burnley centre back, that's the one that needs to arrive. It's that simple. And if the shareholders need to organise another rights issue for them to inject more funds into West Ham United, because let's not think that the only source of revenue is selling a player or cutting the wage bill. The directors aren't slow in taking interest payments out of the club. Well, when times are hard, you've got to meet your responsibilities in the other direction.
Yeah.
And maybe you put some money in. And for me, the chairman needs to speak to his fellow shareholders and say, guys, we need to get another 20 million together to sign the player the manager says he wants. It's that simple.
It is.
You know,
They could always sell the club, couldn't they? By all accounts, there are interested parties out there willing to take it on.
And absolutely, Graham, and you know, but the risk that the chairman is taking at the minute is he's seen a very spirited performance tonight against Arsenal Football Club. You know, if he's watched that tonight, he's seen a team that's worked its socks off. He's seen a proper game plan that the manager's set up, and the players have executed very well, bar a couple of individual errors. And I'm just reading on the forum there, Yarmolenko is getting pelters for not tracking back for the goal. And I kind of get that, but I also see what the manager was trying to do. He was trying to win the game, and I'm not going to criticize him for that.
No.
Okay, and for me, system right. He just needs one or two better players, and then we're there. You know, we've got a competitive team.
Yeah, not a million miles away. I suppose that's the thing to take out of it, isn't it? If we're talking about taking positives, that's the thing to take out tonight, is that we're not that far away from being a decent Premier League team. We might not be a Premier League team that's going to be challenging for a European spot just yet. That might be beyond us for a little while, but you know, we do have the resources there. Just a little bit of fine tuning and tweaking, and you know, a little bit more experience, perhaps, as Pinky is not afraid of telling us in central defence. You know, we've got a good left-sided centre half there in an experienced international in Angelo Ogbonna, and it's just the other side that, you know, it seems to be where a lot of our defensive weaknesses seem to be occurring on the right. We're going to wrap up very, very shortly, gentlemen. So before we do that, Rio, if you want to take a dive into the forum just to tell us a bit more about what Pinky was saying there about Yarmolenko getting pelters on the match thread. Before we do that, there's been a few more comments on the live chat on our YouTube stream. The Foo Master writes, my worry, hi Foo, good to see you on the stream. My worry in a Moy sacking scenario is Sullivan thinking Chocolate's return would be the way to go. He's available, isn't he, at the moment, Pards? I believe he's out there. He's unattached since returning from his little Dutch trip at the end of last season, where, if I recall rightly, they mutually terminated his contract out there. You never know. He's always said he's had unfinished business at West Ham as Pardew. That would be an interesting scenario, wouldn't it? Mike Larkin says, Kevin's a terrible manager, though, presuming you're referring to Mr. Nolan there, Mike. Started at Notts County, didn't he? Had a bit of a tough job on his hands there, but I guess, you know, he's young in managerial terms. Probably not the place to cut your teeth, I would imagine, at a club like West Ham United in our current situation, but you never know. Raymond Deeble says, hi, Raymond, good to see you on the stream. Says, ifs and buts, we played okay, but need to learn to finish. Fair enough. We did have plenty of opportunities there. You know, again, didn't really ride our luck, did we? And that we're going to keep coming back. I know until next week that the penalty decision will keep being brought up time and time again. Or the fact that we didn't get one. Lowell Green, good to see you, Lowell, on the stream. Lowell says nothing will change until we stop conceding 2 goals a game, and that brings us neatly back to what we've been saying all along, isn't it? The defensive frailties that we've got. Doesn't matter what David Moyes does, whether he puts out 5 at the back, 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 6 at the back. If you're choosing from the personnel that is currently limited to, you're always going to struggle because we just clearly haven't got the necessary quality there. Rio, the KUMB Forum match thread. One final visit before we say good night to everybody. What's the general consensus and the view there right now?
Yeah, just to back up your last comment from the other gentleman, Hammer 1975 was put, for all the talk of playing better, we still lost and more worryingly conceded 2 goals again. We won't get many points conceding 2 goals a game.
And Rio's just dipped out at a completely inopportune moment. We'll hang on for a bit just to... Poor Rio's been experiencing dreadful connection difficulties all night, so we've been losing him frequently, but he's been coming back just as frequently, so we'll just hang on before we say goodnight. As I say, Pinky, it seems like a good point while we're waiting for Rio to return, just to have your final thoughts on tonight.
Final thoughts, pretty positive actually. Okay, we've lost the game, But before kick-off, if you took a straw poll amongst most of our support, it would be, well, we hardly ever get anything at Arsenal anyway. So I saw a much improved performance compared with last week. I saw the players following the manager's instructions as a team effort pretty well. I saw a terrific performance from Pablo Fornals tonight. I saw another good solid performance from Tomas Soucek. I saw Rice having 90 minutes under his belt, which will only mean he'll be better next week. There's a lot of positives there tonight. You know, we did not play like a team that's going to be bottom 4 all season. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think with just 1 or 2 upgrades, we could have a good competitive team there. I thought good team spirit, good tactics tonight. We were desperately unlucky, but far better tonight than we were last week. I mean, just chalk and cheese difference. So for me, okay.
Good stuff, Pinky. As always, thank you for your company. It's been great fun. We shall be back, of course, on Tuesday for West Ham v Hull. We will confirm the KUMB team lineup in due course. Rio, great to see you back again, buddy. Shame we've been having these connection problems all night, but we were just dipping into the forum. Anything else that stands out particularly there in terms of the comments?
Yeah, Simon 1982 put, I thought we played really well. Also find it surprising that manager has been criticised. He clearly doesn't trust Yarma, Anderson, Lenzine and Haller, and let's be honest, he has good reason for that. We were unlucky, but Yarmolenko switched off and it cost us. Anderson has a chance to cross it and decides to flick it off his own leg. Obviously, it wasn't his fault, but it sort of sums us up. Fornals needs to be braver. He plays too safe too often for my liking. And I thought Antonio was outstanding as well as Soucek.
Mm-hmm.
Unlucky West Ham socks just to finish off. Once again, subs not made until too late. In my honest opinion, Fornals was crying to be subbed by the 60th minute. We actually started passing forward and quickly for parts in this game. And lo and behold, we actually looked good for it. Who would have thought it? Bringing Anderson on with 120 seconds to go, just plain stupid. And a few of the comments on here slagging him off for trying something for his first touch of the game is equally stupid. Overall, a vast improvement over the Newcastle game, but the end result is just as gut-wrenching. And I'd like to apologise for my internet connection for the last hour and a half, because it's been shocking as well.
Probably the biggest disappointment of the night, the fact that we haven't had you for as long as we normally would, buddy. We've had Pinky's summary and final thoughts on the evening. What's yours, Rio?
I can only say it's a vast improvement. We have to take everything that we did right tonight in terms of defending in banks, being solid, attacking with a bit more pace and intent. And we've got to carry that forward into the Wolves game. I know a lot of people won't like it because it seems like a defensive lineup. No, we shouldn't be defending at home in that kind of manner. But tonight's performance has given me great heart. And we have to build on that. There's no point swapping to a more attacking formation at home just for the sake of it. Take everything that we did right tonight and carry that forward into the next game. Because the next few games are incredibly tough. You've got a Wolves side who performed admirably well in Europe in the league last year. And they're going to be a major threat. And after that, you've got Leicester, you've got City. Why not do everything that we did right tonight and push forward into the next few tough games using the same kind of system, the same setup, and trying to get some positives?
Cracking. Thanks, Rio. And as always, thank you for your company tonight. It's been good fun, as always. And as I said, we shall all be back on Tuesday night, probably with a slightly different cast for the whole Carabao Cup game, a little bit of respite from Premier League concerns. So there it is, West Ham. Beaten, bruised, but we're not totally despondent tonight. I think the panel here at least agrees that we've done all right. We've done ourselves, reasonably proud. It's been an unlucky defeat, as has often been the case in recent seasons at Arsenal. A bit more luck. We could have had a penalty. We hit the crossbar, and then, as we've all said, 2 very minor but major lapses of concentration have cost us dear and cost us the points. As it is, West Ham, 2 games in, no points on the board. The only way from here is up. I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us here on the stream. Thank you for your company. Thank you for your comments, as always. If you've enjoyed what you've seen over the last couple of hours, give us a like down there. And if you haven't already subscribed, come and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified whenever we go live or whenever any other content we produce is posted on the channel. Do join us on the KUMB Forum throughout the next few days to let us know, what you think about tonight's game, how you feel we should line up perhaps against Hull on Tuesday and then also against Wolves next weekend. We do enjoy seeing you on there. Of course, coming up this week on KUMB, we'll have some more episodes of KUMB Mastermind. Boom. And if you're taking part, good luck to everyone who's in that. If you're not, hope you enjoy the show. That's also been good fun. That's about it from us tonight. It's finished Arsenal 2, West Ham United 1. West Ham, so unlucky. We felt we could have snatched it at the end. In the end, it was Arsenal who took all 3 points rather undeservedly, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. For now, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you all again very soon. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Good night, all.